Tourism would never be the same. COVID-19 creates a great impact to worldwide tourism, especially in Thailand, where tourism is the main economic contributor.
We would like to invite you all to join the conference Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus International Conference 2021, the first international conference of Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus.
Date and time of conference is 22nd of June 2021 from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m.
Live on Zoom, YouTube KUSRC and Facebook Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus. So don't forget to follow and subscribe our channel.
All skillful speakers will reflect their experience to rethink, redesign, and redevelop our sustainable tourism future. First, Kun Marisa Sukoson-Nunpakdi, the President of Thai Hotel Association. She will cover the topic of rethinking tourism after the COVID-19 pandemic.
According to the COVID-19 pandemics, there are many issues and trends that will shape tourism. Mr. Dilip Rashikaria, Group CEO of Minor International and CEO of Minor Hotels, will present on the topic of rethinking tourism under critical global problems.
The next keynote speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Ian Yeoman from Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand. Based on his intensive Tourism International publication, he will talk about how to redesign tourism for sustainable future.
The agenda for government policy action can play a significant role for tourism. คุณบุญเสริมขันแก้ว Deputy Director General for Development of Tourism, Department of Tourism will present on the topic of redeveloping government policy in tourism industry.
Last but not least, Mr. Chattan Kunchon Na Ayutthaya, the Deputy Governor for International Marketing Asia and South Pacific, the Tourism Authority of Thailand. He will talk about marketing promotion to support the tourism industry.
Do not forget to register to attend the conference via this QR code. Note that no register free for this event. Everyone is welcome.
Surely, this international conference will show you how the tourism future will be. So please do not forget to register and tune in.
It's been such an honor for us to welcome you all. Thank you so much. See you soon.
See you soon.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus International Conference 2021.
Under the topic of Rethinking, Redesigning, Redeveloping for our future sustainable tourism growth. And my name is Chayapot Lianan.
And my name is Dr. Pornpom Rungrung. As a moderator of the conference, first of all, thank you very much for your support. We have 500 accounts registered on Zoom.
So before we start, I would like to give you all some rules, regulations, and processes. First, kindly mute your microphone during the sessions. Second, I would like to request your kind cooperation to turn on the camera at all time. And please use our virtual background that I have sent to you earlier via the email address.
Wow, that's cool. Moreover, questions are an important part of the conference. So, if you have any question, please type in your question in the chat box. Don't worry, we will be addressing them at the end of each session. Importantly, before you leave the conference, it would be nice if you can do the conference assessment for us. It won't take a long time to get through our process. So please do not hesitate about the conference assessments. And for those who want a conference certificate, please do not forget to do the assessment. You will get the certificate after you have done the assessment via an email. So from now, we have to take some pictures about of us. So we just take off a mask and take
All right,
pictures
so we take a picture together,
with the
right?
attendees. All right.
All right. So please turn on your camera and so that we can have a picture together.
Yes. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
Yeah, we have seen that you're coming up with our virtual background. So,
Right.
um,
Thank you guys so much.
right. All right. So please do not forget to use our virtual background as well.
So we have sent the virtual background to all of you guys via an email. So you can check at the emails and change the background. So say hi to everyone. Hello. Welcome to the conference.
How are you today?
Hopefully all of you will be all right. Okay, thank you all of you
All right.
guys.
So we have your nice pictures together with us. And Ajahn Ting, I have heard that this time, this conference is our very first international conference that hosted by Kasetsart University Sriracha campus, right?
Yes, that's right.
So this is a good beginning as we will surely have other international conferences very soon. So please stay tuned and follow our page update on our Facebook. So now please have a look at our first international conference teaser. So you will follow today's programs. All skillful speakers will reflect their experience to rethink, redesign, and redevelop our sustainable tourism future. First, Kun Marisa Sukoson Nunpakdi, the President of Thai Hotel Association. She will cover the topic of rethinking tourism after the COVID-19 pandemic.
According to the COVID-19 pandemics, there are many issues and trends that will shape tourism. Mr. Dilip Rashkaria, Group CEO of Minor International and CEO of Minor Hotels, will present on the topic of rethinking tourism under critical global problems.
The next keynote speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Ian Yeoman from Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand. Based on his intensive Tourism International publications, he will talk about how to redesign tourism for sustainable future.
The agenda for government policy action can play a significant role for tourism. คุณบุญเสริมขันแก้ว Deputy Director General for Development of Tourism, Department of Tourism will present on the topic of redeveloping government policy in tourism industry.
Last but not least, Mr. ชัดทัน กุลชร ณ อยุธยา the Deputy Governor for International Marketing Asia and South Pacific, the Tourism Authority of Thailand. He will talk about marketing promotion to support the tourism industry.
Hopefully, this conference could be benefit for tourism industry to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic situation.
All skillful speakers will reflect their experience to rethink, redesign, and redevelop our sustainable tourism future. First, คุณ Marisa สุโกศล นุนภักดี the President of Thai Hotel Association. She will cover the topic of rethinking tourism after the COVID-19 pandemic.
According to the COVID-19 pandemic, there are many issues and trends that will shape tourism. Mr. Dilip Rashkaria, Group CEO of Minor International and CEO of Minor Hotels, will present on the topic of rethinking tourism under critical global problems.
The next keynote speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Ian Yeoman from Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand. Based on his intensive Tourism International publications, he will talk about how to redesign tourism for sustainable future.
The agenda for government policy action can play a significant role for tourism. คุณบุญเสริม ขันแก้ว Deputy Director General for Development of Tourism, Department of Tourism will present on the topic of redeveloping government policy in tourism industry.
Last but not least, Mr. ชัดทัน กุลชร ณ อยุธยา the Deputy Governor for International Marketing Asia and South Pacific, the Tourism Authority of Thailand. He will talk about marketing promotion to support the tourism industry.
Hopefully, this conference could be benefit for tourism industry to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Alright, อาจารย์อเล็กคะ this is going to be a great day today. But before we get started with the first speaker, I would like to introduce everyone about our unique Kasetsart University Sriracha campus. By the way, I have a video clip about our unique introduction. Aleka, would you like to see it?
I can't wait for that.
Alright, okay, let's see. So now, please welcome Assistant Professor Dr. Seri Gunjanak, Vice President for Kasetsart University, Sriracha Campus, for greeting and kindly give an introduction of the Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus International Conference 2021.
Deputy Governor for International Marketing Asia and South Pacific Tourism Authority of Thailand, Deputy Director General for Department of Tourism, Group CEO of Minor International and CEO of Minor Hotels, President of Thai Hotels Association, Associate Professor Ian Gelman, Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand, President of Kasetsart University, Executive of Honor Guests and all participants. On behalf of Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus, which is hosting the KUSRC International Conference, I would like to welcome you all to the online conference, with it being broadcast on Zoom meeting, YouTube, Facebook Live, and KU Live channel. Today's topic is rethinking, redesigning, redeveloping for our future sustainable tourism growth, or สรรสร้างการท่องเที่ยววิถีใหม่ที่ยั่งยืน Thank you for participating. The objective of this event is to help policy makers in governmental agencies, private industries, academic institutions, as well as students and the general public to understand all of the issues affecting tourism and related service industries, and to encourage them to plan and implement policies and programs that will best address this COVID-19 outbreak. The conference has been organized to provide a forum for all us to share ideas and to work together. We need to generate community, governmental, and industry-related support for long-term safe, sustainable, efficient tourism. There are many important facets involved, including the role of academic institutions that train and educate students who wish to create meaningful careers in tourism-related industry. Of course, we are concerned about the continuing growth and profitability of tourism entrepreneurs, both small and large business. Today's issue also focus on getting to know government policies that are intended to stimulate the tourism economy, especially here in the eastern region of Thailand. Our hope is that the Thai tourism will soon return, will soon flourish, even this era of a global crisis, and then far into the future continue with safe, green, sustainable growth. I would like to thank all the keynote speakers, the administrator who helped to arrange the conference, and all of you who are listening to this Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus International Conference. Thank you for participating online. We do hope that sometime soon we can meet you in person on our beautiful campus. Thank you very much. Let's proceed with the conference.
Thank you very much indeed to Assistant Professor Dr. Seri Gunjana, our Vice President for Kasetsart University Sriracha campus. But I'm very sorry that we have a technical problem about the sound on Zoom.
But no worries, you're gonna find the full version again upon we have uploaded the new version for you.
Yes,
All
that's
right, so next, I would like to invite the President of Kasetsart University, Dr. Jongrak Wacharinrat, to give an opening speech on rethinking, redesigning, redeveloping for our future sustainable tourism growth.
So, participants, can you hear me?
Yes.
Raise your hand. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Cup, I can hear you.
So, the Deputy Governor of International Marketing Asia and South Pacific, the Deputy Director General for Department of Tourism, the Group CEO of Minor International and CEO of Minor Hotels, the President of Thai Hotel Association, Associate Professor Ian Yeoman, Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand, executives, all honorable guests, and all participants. So today I'm honored to be the chairman of the opening ceremony of the first International Academic Conference sponsored by Kasetsart University Sriracha campus. We are all fully aware that the pandemic situation of coronavirus has spread across the world, affecting a large number of people worldwide. The impact on the health of the world citizens, on healthcare industry and economic growth remains a global concern. In
เมื่อกี้มัน
Thailand,
หลุดติงแล้ว
crisis continues to have an enormous impact on our nation, tourism, and tourism-related service sector of society. That is the primary focus of this conference. Our goal is important. Our goal is to rebuild confidence in the tourism industry after the coronavirus epidemic. It is important to develop the policy and to implement innovative solutions that benefit domestic and foreign entrepreneurs. Academic institutions, including universities such as Kasetsart University, are integrated in this goal. This is because we need to educate and prepare a workforce that can enter the labor market and participate in all humanitarian service. We way to address these current challenges. Our ultimate goal is to stimulate the economics and energize the tourism and service industry in our region. But we all want to accomplish this in ways that are safe, efficient, and sustainable. Finding the sustainable development solution is not only a long-term goal, it is an immediate goal that we must accomplish now. It is appreciated that the Kasetsart University Sriracha campus International Conference 2021 will address this topic. It is important that all of us rethinking, redesigning, and redeveloping of our future sustainable tourism growth. This is particularly appreciated for the Kasetsart University Sriracha campus. We locate within the nation hidden economic corridor and has expertise in tourism development, marine industries, and technological innovation. We hope that all of you who attend this conference benefit from the expertise and comments of speakers. They are representing important governmental agencies and business, and very familiar with this issue. We believe that today conversations will be useful for to the relevant sector in the tourism industry, especially in the eastern part of Thailand. The opening of the Kasetsart University Sriracha campus international conference under the topics Rethinking, Redesigning, Redeveloping of our future sustainable tourism growth is hereby completed. I wish you good health and a rewarding conference, and hope to see you all in Sriracha campus Kasetsart University. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right. So thank you very much to the President of Kasetsart University, Dr. Jongrak Wacharindat. And all right, it's now time for our distinguished speakers. So remind you all that please leave your questions on chat box so that we will raise all the questions to the keynote speaker after the end of this session.
Yes.
At this stage, our first keynote speaker is the President of Thai Hotel Associations. And today, Kun Marisa will give an overview of rethinking tourism after COVID-19 pandemic. So Kun Marisa, it's now your floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so honored to be invited by Kasetsart University Sriracha campus to join your international conference on tourism for 2021. I'm also very privileged to be speaking to you among your very distinguished panelists today. I hope that what I present to you can be beneficial and be of use. Please let me take some time to introduce myself. I'm currently the president of the Thai Hotels Association, which is in short called THA. The association's been around since 1963. That's older than me. Now I just gave my age away. We have around 1,000+ members across the country and 10 chapters. We have hotels of all sizes, from the big chain properties with conference centers to the mid-range independents to smaller properties like boutique properties across the country. Our main role is to be the voice of the industry, to be the voice box, especially during a period of crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Our members rely on us to present to authorities, the government especially, what our concerns are and what we need to survive at present. So I have a huge task upon me at the moment because COVID has wreaked such havoc on our industry. I also my family also runs a group of hotels called Sukhasol Hotels. We have 5 hotels, 2 in Bangkok and 3 in Pattaya. The most famous being the one on the luxury boutique hotel on the Chao Phraya River called the Siam. It's world renowned. Anyway, also THA's mandate is also to help develop and improve, enhance the capabilities of hotels in Thailand, to build the Thai hotel brand, to act as in partnership with everyone, NGOs, non-governmental, governmental agencies, everyone who reaches out to in partnership with us. And for 6 years working with THA, I've been head of the sustainability committee or environmental committee. So my duty there was to encourage hotels to operate sustainably and to be certified as green. So yes, we all know how COVID has had such a devastating effect on Thai tourism. it's not just affected us or me as investor or as hotel owner, but also more importantly and sadly, the tourism workers and hotel workers and our staff. And it's a very, very sad catastrophe. So today's topic of rethinking, redesigning, redeveloping tourism for sustainable growth is necessary indeed. And it's something COVID has given us the window of opportunity to restart, to rethink tourism, to set new rules for tourism. And this is the good part of COVID. So it has brought sustainability up to speed. We have to hurry up in that front, and also technology. So last year I wouldn't even dream of being able to Zoom webinar, Zoom conference you right now, but now I do it like it's second nature. So these are the good parts of COVID. So can you believe it's been 15 months since the start of the pandemic in April of last year? 15 months since we've been operating at a loss, So before we get into the topic, I'd like to premise my session with a couple figures. Let me share our first slide. My first slide. These are just statistics, important statistics to lay the ground for what is needed for us to survive and move forward successfully into the future. So if you look at the top left-hand side box, you'll see that 2019 was the best year in tourism. Thailand welcomed 39.8 million travelers. In 2020, we were able to welcome visitors only for the first 3 months, and we garnered 6.7 million. For this year, the National Economic Social Development Council has forecasted arrivals at just 500,000. That's dismal and not enough for us to survive, unfortunately. But there are there are bright sides, there are opportunities, so we'll talk about that later. And in the first 4 months of this year, we welcomed 28,701 tourists. That averages to about 7,000 per month. So very, very little amount. Let's move on to the second box, which is the bottom left one. Thailand has tried to incentivize domestic travel through the Rao Tiu Doi Kan campaign. And that, even with that campaign, last year domestic tourists amounted to 91 million only, which is a drop of 55% from the year before. And for this year, in the first 4 months of this year, domestic tourists dropped 10% from a very low base, of course. And so this shows that, the domestic travel tourists is not enough for Thailand. We are still very heavily reliant on international travel, and that the spending of Thai tourists has dropped as well. I'll show that to you later on. But if we move on to the right side, the bottom box on the right side, this is regarding hotels. According to the Ministry of Interior, there are 16,282 hotels in Thailand legally registered. We predict that 46% are temporarily closed, especially those in major tourist destinations. Previously, among these hotels, there were 860,000 jobs. Now they've been reduced by 53%. So, many tourism workers or hotel workers are out of jobs, are furloughed, are underemployed. That means that they are not being fully paid, are not working full time yet. Like, and I guarantee you, no company is hiring anybody at full salary at this time. A hotel company, by that I mean. Let's move on to the top right box. This is the tourism revenue. So in 2019, Thailand earned 3.1 trillion in tourism revenue. In 2020, we earned 0.9 trillion. That's a drop of 70%. Of that, 76%. This is last year. International tourism revenue from international tourists dropped 76%, and Thais dropped 55%. That means Thais are losing their spending power, and that is going to be, increased this year because of our third outbreak. So from January to April alone, without any foreign tourists, revenue dropped 80%. So that's why last week there was some good news from the Prime Minister of Thailand. He announced that in 120 days, that's I can't move the slide. I think that's by 14th of October. We will be welcoming vaccinated tourists without quarantine. This is absolutely necessary for tourism to bounce back. Tourism makes up 20% of Thailand's GDP. So without it comes economic destruction. So the government has to bring back tourism. It signals to the world that we are ready. It also forces authorities, different government agencies, to work together toward a common goal. Opening up Phuket Sandbox will also reassure tourists that we are safe, that we can be successful, as a COVID destination model, and it will help speed up opening up of other destinations in Thailand, and also reassure Thais that welcoming tourists who are vaccinated from low-risk countries without quarantine can be safe. That's very important. However, it's contingent on vaccinations, of course, on controlling the outbreak, on quarantine time has to be reduced in other destinations to get a steady flow. 14 days is just too long. It must, the government must reduce it soon to 7 days or 10 days perhaps. And we must make it easier for international travelers to book, to travel, to get their visas, to, this is the whole process has to be user-friendly, let's just say. And of course, it's contingent on our source country situation, how they're able to handle their outbreak, what their vaccination pace is, because travelers don't want to come out here and go back and have to quarantine in their original countries. So it's still contingent on many factors. And personally, I don't think travel will come back. We will fully, 2 years from now, we will begin to see a steady flow in January of next year. That's my prediction. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, so 6 months from now on, and 6 months from now is the critical period for determining whether or not we will be able to survive. And as president of THA, I've delivered many proposals to the government. However, let's focus on the box on the right side. I believe that rehabilitation will take 2 years, for businesses to bounce back fully. And because it's been disrupted, it's been put on pause, and so many people have left the industry. We will need subsidies and incentives to help retrain our staff. The buzzword is upskilling and reskilling our staff. There's a call for a rehabilitation fund to help SMEs, smaller operators, access cash flow funds to be able to reopen their businesses. The tourism ministry has spoken about the tourism tax, which will be imposed next year. I believe that's what their target is. And hopefully money from the tax will help in destination management programs, Right now, it's set aside for insurance and for protecting the safety of travelers. In the next 2 years, we will need tax incentives, tax deductions for businesses, such as the land and building tax. We need that reduced, continue to be reduced for hotels especially. Hotels are very heavy in asset and fixed costs. So, being able to forward เงินทุนเงินขาดทุนสะสม how do you say that in English? I'm not quite sure, but to forward that, to extend that in not just 5 years, but 10 years from now, that would help hotels greatly. So I feel that the government needs to continue to help us along, because we've been just operating at a zero income scenario for too long, and so we need support to propel us back into action. And then the government likes to say, so what are you going to do for us? So even with Phuket, the government deciding to open up Phuket, there are concessions. Phuket has to commit to sustainability, to the safety, to building trust among travelers, not taking advantage of tourists with with the smaller operators, things like that. So it's a whole new campaign for Phuket, and I think it's a great start towards sustainable travel for Thailand. Okay, so we finally arrived at the slide which is the topic of my session, which is rethinking tourism after COVID. I've done several researches, and everyone says sort of the same thing. And after arriving at the World Travel and Tourism Council page, there's a research study called "To Recovery and Beyond: The Future of Travel in the Wake of COVID-19." You can look that up yourself. But WTTC basically reduced tourism trends after COVID into 4 topics, which is demand evolution, health and hygiene, innovation and digitization, and sustainability. However, you can go there and read the details. It's worldwide, applicable to tourism worldwide. However, I'd like to extend it and adapt it to suit Thai tourism situation we're in at the moment and our potential for upcoming future. So demand evolution, definitely demand will change. At the moment, the heaviest hit is the corporate business. Like even with meetings in hotels, the MICE business in hotels, we see less and less corporate business, because people are working from home, working remotely. People are Zoom conferencing, video conferencing more. So the number of people actually meeting in hotels will be greatly reduced for the time being. I don't know, that may change. Incentive groups will be smaller and more exclusive. That's regarding MICE. With regards to just the general traveler, FITs will bounce back first, and then maybe groups will come later on. Even now, tour groups from China book individually. They arrive individually and meet up in Thailand, and then go forward to various destinations. So there are still many unknowns, of course. And I think that hotels have to be more flexible. I'm sorry, but I'm the president of the Thai hotels, so I have to speak from a hotelier's perspective. That's the area for which I'm more keen on. But hotels, and I guess it applies to all types of tourism operators, have to be more flexible. There needs to be more customization. Travelers will be more picky, I think, as to their lifestyle needs and things like that. So instead of just selling room and board, room and breakfast, ABF, room book, ABF, right? Now we have to think about incorporating experiences. new experiences, and you can't just promote hotels restaurants in your hotels anymore. What you should be doing is promoting restaurants in your community, and because the community adds value to your hotel product. People will need, they want to be more adventurous. They want new discoveries. So you must engage your community more. And of course, we need to focus more on domestic market. COVID has given us the opportunity to market to Thais. Hotels are so reliant on OTA bookings, but with COVID, people are actually booking more directly. And that's a good thing. OTAs are necessary. OTAs are online travel agencies. They're necessary because they give us the reach worldwide, but domestically, we can do our own marketing, our branding towards Thais. So in the future, Thailand will need to focus more on domestic travel and not rely so much on overseas business. Health and hygiene, of course, is the baseline for what we should be doing, and it helps build trust among travelers that we are germless. People are more aware of germs now, and they, as much as they don't like quarantine, they don't want to. They need to stay in a hotel that is standardized as well. And for hotels that are individual or not branded, standards and certifications are very important because they help guarantee to the travelers that you have a certain standard. And in Thailand, we're very fortunate to have the SHA standard, the Safety and Health Administration Certification Guidelines. For the MICE business, we have the 2HY, 2H for hygiene and hybrid standards as well. So TCEP is promoting those standards for meetings, and TAT is promoting the SHA standards for hotels and all sorts of other tourism operators, and also including airlines as well. In Phuket, we have the SHA Plus standard, meaning not only do they have to go through all the SHA guidelines, their staff are also 70% of hotel staff are vaccinated as well. And the SHA Plus standards also incorporate not just hotels, but restaurants and all kinds of tourism operators. Innovation and digitization. Definitely technology is sped up, especially in the meetings sector. Hotels have to use digital technology to be able to perform or offer hybrid meetings now. Our staff have to be more fluent in technology, be able to even produce and broadcast meetings. So that's something very new for Thailand. Hotels are now using contactless technology more, with starting from changing our faucets to sensor types, to contactless check-ins and things like that. So as tourism bounces back, and because technology investment is needed. So for regular hotels, it may take a while to incorporate technology fully, but definitely technology will also be used to enhance productivity, efficiency, and that relates to human resources, because COVID has taught us that people how do you say this? People have to multitask more. So if Kasetsart university students want to enter into the hotel or the tourism industry, they have to multitask now. It's not one person has to perform more than one job and be able to use technology. And so there's a big disparity in digital fluency between the bigger hotels and the smaller hotel operators, and we need to bridge that gap. And hotel workers and new workers coming in have to be more fluent in technology, of course. With regards to innovation, Thailand has so much potential, especially in the wellness and medical tourism area. Every hotel can touch on wellness and well-being now. A lot of hotels are getting clinic alternative medicine permits, as a clinic now, so they can perform all kinds of alternative medicine, traditional medicine treatments to Thais initially, and then eventually foreigners. So that's the new thing in tourism. There's a wellness tourism association in Thailand. So that's going to be, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future in that regard. Gastronomy, Thailand is already the kitchen of the world, or the kitchen of Asia, I'm not sure. We have great potential. There's no question people come to Thailand because of our good food, and we have organic consumption that is being promoted. And we have huge potential in that area. And of course, Thais are so creative, just artistically, and if you look at Bangkok, urban areas, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Phuket especially, there's just so many interesting places and artistic offerings. So I believe that's could be a great identity for Thailand. Moving on to sustainability, the Thai government, moving forward, the Thai government's framework for economic development will be their BCG economic framework. B stands for bioeconomy, C for circular economy, and G for green economy. And tourism kind of falls within the green economy framework. So the government has a policy to support green tourism and responsible travel, things like that. So hopefully we can do better, and we'll be doing better with regards to sustainability in travel. There needs to be better destination management. At the moment, we need tourists not just to contribute to the development and the rehabilitation of Thai tourism, not just destroy. We don't want to be the bad guy. Tourism does not want to be the bad guy anymore. We need tourists to contribute. So we need people to be more conscious of helping the environment as they travel. So with regards to destinations management, that means that, how Got Maya Island was closed and rehabilitated, and that's going on at the moment. And hopefully there'll be a digital platform of some sort that requires people to book their visits to those beach destinations, or even the Grand Palace in Bangkok, things like that. Infrastructure development is very necessary, especially in the municipal local government level, because you can be as eco-conscious as you can, but if in the end the government still, waste management is not effective at the local government level, then it has to be full circle. It makes no sense. And I believe that especially in islands, we need better waste management and also wastewater management for sure. And legislative reforms that's relating to legalization of hotel operators that have a difficult time registering their businesses. In Thailand, there are more illegally operated hotels than there are legal hotels. So the THA and also the Thai Chamber of Commerce are working towards, adjusting the law so that more people can be operating legally and things like that. So that's needs work. Having more people registered means that your data will be more accurate. You can forecast demand, better forecast demand, and you have you can control supply as well. I mean, so it's a long road ahead, but it's it's being undertaken. It's happening. Clean air is a big issue for Thailand. People have canceled trips because of PM 2.5 problem in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, even Phuket. We have the pollution coming in from Indonesia, and literally people are canceling their trips. So this is something we have to work on. However, the tourism ministry is not in charge of this. So I think there needs to be more coordinated effort between government agencies. And finally, what we need are quality tourists. We keep talking about quality tourists. What does that mean? That means that can we have less tourists who spend more? That means it doesn't mean we don't want backpackers. We need everyone. We need backpackers, and billionaires. But we need them to be more conscious of the environment and to respect cultures and to travel more, stay longer, visit our secondary and tertiary destinations and communities. That's what we need. And but most importantly, we need market access and market mechanism to build demand for green destinations and to build awareness for people to travel more responsibly. In Thailand, we have around 400 to 500 hotels that are certified green, and that's the most number of hotels in all of ASEAN. So we should be very proud of that, and we need government support for green certification for sure. So finally, I just like to say that Thailand has gone through so many crises, numerous crises, but nothing beats COVID, which has literally disrupted Thailand's tourism. But we can see it as a window of opportunity for us to start again. But it will need cooperation from everyone, government and the private sector, working together to achieve those goals. It will be a long journey climbing back to the peak of success. But as the saying goes, the best view comes after the hardest climb. So to that, I thank you for listening, and hopefully we can move forward to better days for us and also for our children and grandchildren. Thank you so much. Sawadee.
All right, thank you very much, Kun Marisa. So we have received quite numbers of questions coming in, but don't worry, all questions will be responded by Kun Marisa very soon. And basically, Kun Marisa gave us overview on the revenues and numbers of Thai tourism from 2019 to present, and as well the data show job loss that directly affected or registered hotels. So now it's time for resort within the next 6 months to a year, while the rehabilitation will be implemented within the next 2 years. For rethinking tourism after COVID-19, Kun Marisa briefly sum that 4 significant keys from World Travel and Tourism Council include 1.
Yes.
Demand, and 2. Health and hygiene, 3. Innovation, and 4. Sustainability.
All right.
All right.
So thank you very much, Kun Marisa, for sharing us your time. And next, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Dilip Lashikaria, Group CEO of Minor International and CEO of Minor Hotel. He will present on the topic of rethinking tourism under critical global problem. All right. Hello, Mr. Dilip. I'm glad that you're here. I believe that it is a good time to listen to your topic. So now it's your turn.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. On the topic of rethinking and re-energizing tourism back again into Thailand, it's my great pleasure and honor to be invited also to this panel. So I thank you all. I'll run through a quick recap about Minor International and how we have coped with what we call the pandemic, and also how we see the recovery and the resurgence of tourism coming back quite strongly into Thailand as well. So if you don't mind, if you can please put my slides up, please. Thank you. Okay, so just a quick this thing about us as a company. So the next one, please. So Miner International, as we all know, we are one of the largest companies today, public listed companies in Thailand, focusing on both food and hotel and also lifestyle as well. We are one of the biggest on the globally in terms of the hospitality side, with close to about 530 hotels in 55 countries. And on the food side, we're mainly focused also in Asia, Middle East as well, and Asia Pac as well, with over 2,000 restaurants spreading all over. And on the lifestyle, we've got close to about 400 outlets, pretty much predominantly based in Bangkok or Thailand. Next, please. So here, this is a quick recap about the revenue contribution of 2020. As we can see, hotels is about 58%, food is about 36%, and lifestyle is 6%. This is during the pandemic, which is in 2020. Next, please. So these are pretty much our footprint. As you can see, we are 37%. We've got presence in Thailand and 65% overseas, 527 hotels, 2,300 restaurants, and about 428 retail outlets spreading over 63 countries and more than 100 cities in the world. Next, please. So this is the system-wide contribution and also revenue contribution as well by our brands. As you can see, we've got quite a few brands. We've got about 8 hotel brands, predominantly super luxury brand, which is the Anantara. Then we have Avani, we have NH Collection, NH Now, Oaks, Elavana, Tivoli, and the other brands as well, which are third-party assets. We also own Four Seasons in Thailand, the 3 Four Seasons. We have a JW Marriott, and also we do have a St. Regis in Bangkok, and a JW and a Radisson in Maputo in Mozambique as well. Next, please. So this is on the restaurant side. Again, we are a franchisee, a franchisor. So we do wear different hats in terms of the businesses. As you can see, we've got quite an array of food brands, from our own brands, which are Coffee Club, Pizza Company, Thai Express, which we own, Benihana. In China, we have China Riverside. And then we also do have the franchise brands like Swensen's, Sizzler, Dairy Queen, Burger King, Bonchon as well. Next, please. These are the Miner lifestyle portfolio. So again, these are some of the lifestyle brands which we have as well as part of our businesses. So about, as you can see, the number of outlets and also the different brands which we own under the portfolio as well. Next, please. Next, please. So what happened during COVID? We were pretty much the first to be hit COVID because our restaurants in China and also our hotels in China were affected towards the end of Jan, when we actually went into a lockdown in Wuhan, and what we call the China lockdown happened end of Jan. So more than 100 restaurants under our China-owned restaurant brands were closed, and also our hotels which we manage in China were also closed. And basically, we actually were quick enough to learn based on what was happening in China, some of the best practices, so that we were ready to roll out. And we knew this was a pandemic because, as we know, Thailand has suffered many crises in the past, including some of the diseases as well, like SARS, bird flu, swine flu, etc., but which was pretty much regional crises. And we knew this was much more serious, and it was a global crisis, which actually became a humanitarian crisis, which now is turning out to be an economic crisis as well. So we were pretty quick to learn from our learnings from China. And then in March, we saw some of the other countries going into a lockdown, like our hotels in Europe followed suit. And then in April, again, we saw Thailand also going into a lockdown, including Australia. In May, we saw a gradual opening of restaurants and services, both in China and also in Thailand. And then June, we saw a gradual reopening in Australia as well. So this was the first wave, what we call the first wave. So the first wave, we got hit in end of Jan, and the wave started to recover. We saw some of the restaurants and hotels opening up in April, May, and then quickly enough, we went into a second wave, and now we are in the third wave. So next one, please. So again, here, as you can see, majority of our food outlets were operational from the month of October, November, back in China. In April 2021, restaurants in Thailand, again, we had restrictions due to the second wave, and then also in Europe, some of the hotels were temporarily closed, especially in Northern and Central Europe, where there was high mobility of restrictions also, which were applied as well. And hotels in Thailand remained open, but the performance was pretty much affected because of the local outbreaks and also the lesson of the mobility of domestic tourism as well. So we have seen, because Thailand pretty much shut down its borders last year, and the borders remain shut down except for ASQ or repatriation. But otherwise, Thailand remains shut down, and we were pretty much relying on just only domestic tourism in Thailand. The performance for the Maldives, we saw Maldives opened in August last year, and we opened our hotels in September. We had the best ever December, and also our Q1 was also quite strong because Maldives pretty much recovered really quick. The vaccination started much earlier, and we were able to reopen our hotels in the Maldives. And because of the pent-up demand, there was a lot of demand to our hotels in the Maldives, especially from countries like Russia, South America, and places like that, where we had a very strong December in all our hotels in the Maldives as well. Next one. So one of the things we did was, as part of going into the pandemic, we had to plan ourselves, and what we call it Business Beyond COVID, or our project was called BBC. The phase one, we had to do it in 3 phases. So phase 1 was an immediate priority. Phase 2 was a medium-term rebound, and phase 3 is long-term, and how long-term would look like post-COVID as well. So in terms of the immediate priorities, as you can see, health and safety was our utmost importance, both in terms of our own team members and also our customers and our guests. We implemented quite a few strategies in terms of that. We had to make sure our business continuity management was strict and was strong enough to deal with COVID as well. Communication was key. Communication both to our guests and also our customers. Sustainability, again, Minor prides itself in terms of sustainability. So again, we had quite a few of the sustainability initiatives which continued as well. On the financial side, most of our business models were put into a stress test in terms of break-even points, in terms of generating cash, break-even, etc., and also minimizing costs and also smart labor planning or smart planning in terms of payroll as well. We had many cost-cutting initiatives, which we did pretty quick. We also then were quick enough to implement liquidity and cash flow management. We raised enough funds or enough cash to make sure we can deal with the pandemic for at least for 2 years, which was very successful. And then we also continue with our balance sheet management as well. So these were some of the immediate priorities which we did as soon as we got hit by COVID. The second one was the phase 2 was in terms of medium term, or what we call the rebound. We look at scenario analysis, whether we open or close hotels, whether we open or close restaurants, and whether they have reached the break-even point. How do we reduce our break-even point, etc. We continue to strengthen our brand equity, which is continuous communications with our customers, with our guests, to make sure that they are okay, that they are ready to travel. And when travel permits, we are also able to welcome them as well. We continue to rationalize our cost structure. And also, we look at the capture of demand and recovery, and also to see how we can grow the share of wallet. So there was many strategies which were implemented to this effect in terms of growing our business in terms of top line in a phase where the business demand was quite restricted, and we had to get our share, more than our share. We continue to fortify our supply chain, and also we did reconfigure our workforce and what we call smart planning as well. The last one is the long-term planning, is what we call post-COVID or normal, things getting back to normal. So we looked at what are the new trends which are emerging as a result of COVID. We identified all the customer shifts and the behavior patterns in terms of our customers as well. And then we had to remodify and reinvest in our business models as well. So this is our long term, which is in progress at the moment. So we've gone through phase 1, we've gone through phase 2, and now we're in phase 3. So next one, please. Next. So again, just quickly, resuming, we had 5 focuses: resuming business activities. How do we minimize costs? As I said, how do we reduce our break-even point to make sure our businesses remain cash positive? How do we manage our balance sheet? And also, how do we embrace long-term, the new normal, and to capture business opportunities as well? Next one, please. Next. So again, here, as you can see, the number of hotels, of course, in the month of April and May last year, pretty much all our hotels were in shutdown mode. There was only 100 hotels open, and then we gradually started to open up hotels during the course of the year. And then towards the end of the year, we had about 376 hotels open, which is about 76% of our hotels were open and 24% of our hotels were closed. On the food side, again, there was restrictions. As you know, in Thailand, the dine-in was not allowed, and then there was dine-in restrictions in terms of timing, and then dine-in started to slowly open up during the year. So these are how we opened and closed restaurants again. So we had 94% of our restaurants open by the end of last year, and we had about 6% closed. And the same thing with lifestyle as well. Most of our lifestyle retail outlets were open during the course of the pandemic. Next one, please. So here again, as you can see, how did we minimize our cash burn, and also we preserve liquidity as well. So here we had cost savings in the first quarter, year-on-year savings. Payroll, we managed to save 45%, both in terms of temporary savings and also permanent savings. Our leases, we managed to save about 76%, and other operating expenses, we managed to save about 22%, which was quite significant compared to how we were losing money whilst the businesses were closed. So again, we were pretty quick in terms of implementing these cost savings in Q1 of last year, and that continues, and we hope to see the trend continue in terms of permanent savings in the coming years as well. So next one, please. So the next initiative which we did was, because as we know, our industry is very much capital intensive. So we had to put some freezing or delay on our CapEx projects in terms of investments in hotels, investments in acquisitions. So we had to postpone them. And again, you can see how we have reduced our capital expenditure over the period for the three businesses as well. So the minor hotels, we reduced almost by 30%, minor food about 52%, and minor retail or lifestyle about 34%. Next one, please. So here again, minimizing the cash burn. So we were burning cash. In 2020, we burned about 24.2 billion. In Q1, as you can see, was the highest burn, 6.4. Q2 was the worst quarter because that was when the pandemic hit us, was 8.7. And then, as you can see, we gradually reduced our burning over the next few quarters. So Q4, our cash burn was only 4.7 billion. And this was predominantly coming from our European assets, which were on a lease model. In spite of getting reductions on leases, we still had to pay some lease rental on the hotels which were closed. And again, when you see this year, in Jan, our cash burn reduced significantly. It was only 0.7. In Feb, it was 1.8 negative because of we went into the second wave. And then again in March, we managed to reduce it back to 0.07. Next one, please. So here it's the break-even point. As I said before, how we managed to reduce our break-even points in our businesses. In Thailand, our break-even point used to be anything from 40 to 48%. And you can see post-pandemic, we've reduced that to 24 to 30%. In Europe, our break-even used to be 52 to 63%, and that was reduced to 33 to 40%. In Australia and New Zealand, it was 43 to 53%, and we managed to reduce that to 37 to 45%. So that's a significant reduction in our businesses so that we can open our hotels with the lowest break-even point so that we don't lose cash as well. Next one, please. Again, balance sheet management. As I said before, in Q2, we were the first to launch a rights offering. We issued a perpetual bond, and we also issued warrants to the tune of about 25 billion baht to ensure that we have enough cash to ride through the pandemic for at least 2 years. Our rights offering was oversubscribed. Our perpetual bond was oversubscribed by 10 times, and also the warrants was also issued as part of the cash flow, as part of raising more cash as well. In 2021, we again did some asset rotation, which we would hope will raise about 10 to 15 billion baht. We further issued 2 more warrants in 2021 to raise another 10 billion baht. Next one, please. So again, this is the liability management. So I'm not going to go through in detail here. As I said before, we raised enough cash at mint or minor level to ensure we go through the pandemic, including asset rotations as well. And at the NH level in Spain, again, we have managed to raise capital to make sure that business is strong, is secure, and also we can come back very strong as well. Next one, please. Again, asset rotation is something which we continue to do. The good thing is Minor sits on very strong balance sheet in terms of its assets, and the assets are key in key locations where there is barriers of entry. So these assets actually attract quite a significant pricing in terms of if we have to sell any of these assets and manage back as well. So we are quite fortunate enough to have a strong balance sheet to wave through the pandemic. Next one, please. This is on NMT, which is our manufacturing business, which we had to remodel again, and we had to switch some of our businesses to producing sanitizing products as well to cope with the demand and shift the demand as well, which was very successful. So Minor Lifestyle was pretty quick in terms of setting up the plant to produce sanitization for the industry as well, which we ended up using in all our hotels and all our restaurants, and also retailed as well. Next one, please. Next. So again, how is COVID affecting us, and how do we see the long-term effect? We see that the bookings have become last minute because people are worried, as there is not much because of the pandemic and also the restrictions. There is not enough confidence in the guests, and therefore bookings have shifted to become very much last minute. The range of travel we see initially, it's going to be more domestic and local. We don't see international travel coming back to Thailand this year. It would be more domestic, and then we would then go into more of a regional travel as well. The stay demands, we see that it's more staycations, remote working, extended stays, and the shift in booking. We see there's been a strong shift in booking from OTAs or online travel agents to the brand.com, which is our own brand, which is great because people feel much more confident, safe, and secure to book through our own brand, so that they are fully informed, they know what's happening. And in case they cannot travel, we are quite flexible in terms of either giving them a full refund or actually postponing their travel dates. And the last one is we also see the generational travel. So the population over 60s is the fastest growing market. We see that. We also see that there is a trend towards more of wellness, health and wellness as well. And we have launched new concepts to cater for this demand also within our industry, within our hotels also. Next one, please. Again, as we said, we are in a bit of a flux today. So initially, we said that the domestic demand will come, it will start to plateau, and then we are in a bit of a flux where there is irregular booking behavior because of the different waves coming. And eventually, we will start to see international travel coming back into the marketplace. And that's when the demand will start to grow. I'm actually in Europe at the moment, and I can see that the travel within Europe has already started, and it's coming quite strong. I think it was a shame because Asia actually controlled the pandemic in terms of wave 1 and wave 2, including Thailand. But wave 3 has become out of control. And whereas in Europe, I think the vaccination programs, the speed of the vaccination programs has been a great success, and they are able to open or release restrictions and open and take advantage of the pent-up demand as well. Whereas some of the Asian countries are still in a bit of a flux, as we can see what's happening in Thailand. And I think the key is going to be vaccination. And until the vaccination happens, most countries, either developed countries or developing countries, will be in a bit of a flux before they can see some recovery coming through. Next one, please. Next. So again, we see the shift in booking channels. So again, this, as you can see, as I said, like there's more and more bookings coming through our brand.com because we've implemented many of the new strategies for our customers, the loyalty program, branding, and therefore, we have seen a huge increase in our booking channels within brand.com. Next one, please. This is quite important. I think whilst we are in the pandemic, we've also taken advantage of our what we call technology transformation or digitalization as well. So we've created smart rooms, we have social channels, we have digitalized guest experience, voice, AI, mobilization and automation, and also big data planning as well. So this is something in progress, which we have managed to progress really well during the pandemic last year. so that we are able to come out quite strongly when the demand returns back to the industry. Next one, please. Next. So again, the trends in the sector, as I said, the European REPA is starting to we are seeing increase, mainly domestic. So I think we will see a strong Q3 coming through, because I think because of the summer in Europe. The supply, I think some of the projects have been delayed because of the pandemic, and also more importantly because of the supply chain as well. You know, in certain countries they are facing a shortage of cement. They are facing a shortage of concrete because some of the factories have been shut down. So therefore, there will be some of the projects which will be delayed. Also, the pipeline will decline as a result of the pandemic because of the delays. We see valuations and transactions also be quite challenging as well. In the coming years, we will see more of the smaller hotels or the smaller players having difficulties in terms of cash flow and also balance sheet management coming back post-COVID, and therefore they will not be able to sustain their businesses. We see operations will be hard because forecasting will be challenging. The government also stopping some of the stimulus packages will also have an impact on cash flows for the businesses as well. And the good thing is, where we are, like, you know, we're in about 60 or 65 countries, and we've seen in many of the countries, especially in Europe, the government assistance towards the industry has been phenomenal. Say, for example, in the UK, they have been assisting in terms of furlough, where they're paying people 80% of their salaries and 20% is paid by the companies. There's also moratoriums given in terms of loan repayments. There's moratorium given in terms of rent repayments. In Europe, again, there's been a lot of assistance towards payroll as well. Government has been injecting money in terms of soft loans to support the businesses as well, and also grants as well. So I think this is something very positive. Unfortunately, in Asia, we haven't seen much of government support as we operate in many of the countries. But hopefully, I hope some of these governments will learn from best practices of some of the developing countries or developed countries as well. And in terms of opportunities, what we see is there's more consolidation will happen. There will be more branded residential and mixed use, which will be also happening. And also some of the shift in demand, like, you know, wellness will be key as well. Next one, please. So again, here, the trends in the hotel sector, as you can see, this is a slide which shows the total inventory and where we are today. And I think this has completely changed now based on what's happening today. So this gives you a quick snapshot in terms of how the REPA is changing in terms of open hotels for the full year of 2020. Next one, please. Again, pathway to recovery. I think it's important that the borders are open in a safe manner, and we are seeing that because some countries jumped in pretty quick. They opened their borders and they had a surge in terms of the cases, and they had to shut down again. So I think it's important. I think the key is going to be vaccination, and therefore, until the vaccination happens in a mass scale, and not vaccination only in the developed countries, but vaccination also in the developing countries and also third world countries is also key as well for this industry to come back to normal. Next one, please. Again, so these are some of the things where we are focusing on. So we're focusing on customer engagement. We're focusing on changing customer behavior in what we call the new normal. We're focusing in terms of the market mix has changed. How do we strengthen our brand equity? how do we rationalize our cost structure going forward, also the supply chain to ensure that there is sustainability practice throughout the whole of the supply chain. We have also centralized and consolidate to optimize our stock levels and also minimize the costs as well. Emphasis on wellness and medical spa is key. As I said before, we have a joint venture with Verita in a Singapore listed company where we have brought them to Thailand, and we have a Verita clinic at the Anantara Siam. We have a wellness clinic which we opened called Raksa in Bangka, which is fantastic. One of the state-of-the-art clinics, including facilities and hotel stays as well. We also have a MOU signed with VLCC, a company out of India, for wellness tourism for Hua Hin. And we set up a clinic La Peri in partnership with La Peri in Switzerland at the St. Regis in Bangkok as well. Health and safety is important. Again, on the food side, we have no touch delivery, which work really well. Our customers were confident, and they had the confidence to because our delivery increased quite strongly, because they were confident that we deliver the food in a very safely manner. Anantara had different initiatives as well. More importantly, there was another initiative which we also brought in for Thailand, is that we opened a hotel school. So the hotel school was opened during the pandemic, and our first intake has been in April this year. Even though Thailand is shut down, we had students who have enrolled, and they are doing it online at the moment. And this hotel school is in collaboration with La Roche in Switzerland, one of the best hotel schools in Switzerland. So we are developing a world-class hotel school in Thailand so that we can cope with the future demand for trained hospitality professionals. The courses we conduct up to degree level as well. They can get a degree. They don't have to go to Switzerland. It's the same syllabus, the same academic syllabus as well. And we have a great facility which we have set up in Bangkok, including hands-on experience in our hotels as well. So it's something different, and therefore we really hope that this will make a big change to our industry in terms of talent for the future. So we are investing in talent, and we are also training talent, and we are making sure that Thailand will cope with fully trained professionals in the industry for the future as well. Next one, please. So again, the IT roadmap, as I said before, I think just to cover quickly, we have embarked on what we call IT transformation and digitalization throughout the organization, whether it's the food, whether it's the hotel, whether it's retail. Like say, for example, on the food side, we launched 1112, the delivery platform, which has a multitude of all our brands today, where our customers are able to order all the brands and will be delivered to their home in a very safely manner as well. So this is one platform which is pretty much looking at how some of the bigger players have done, like Foodpanda and Grab and players like that. So we are trying to regain the market share and promote it through our own brand as well. Next one, please. So that's it from me. I thank you for having me, and I hope it was useful. And if there is any questions, I'm happy to take. Thank you very much. Sawadee krap.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we come to the Q&A sessions. And we have one question actually from Mr. Christine. So I'm not sure whether he's now available or not. So would you please come up, Mr. Christine? Are you there?
Hello. Actually, yes.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Right, good afternoon. So I have heard you got a question, right?
Yeah, I got a question.
All right. So would you mind turning on your camera, please, so that we can have a photo session together? All right. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So now it's your floor. You can ask Mr. Dilip directly.
Okay, actually, thank you very much. Actually, the PowerPoint presentation is very well comprehensive, and I have gotten a lot of ideas there. My question is, I think it's related also to the IT roadmap. So, what are those possible positions that will be affected or impacted by the IT roadmap or the digitalization, and what will be the possible digital skills that will be required for our future hospitality and tourism employees or workers or professionals? Thank you, sir.
Okay, no, great. That's a great question, actually. I think in terms of the future, people are worried that because of digitalization and transformation, that the jobs will be lost. Actually, there will be transfer of skills. And I think if you look at the Y2K, everyone was worried that they will lose jobs, but no one actually lost jobs because there was a transfer of skills. So I think what we are doing is most of the manual processes have been digitalized, or we are looking at AI as well. And we have implemented many of these initiatives within our the brand.com, chat box, in accounting, and also in operations as well, where most of the manual work will be digitalized, and also it will be much more efficient as well. But what we are doing is that we are transferring those skills and training people or upskilling them in terms of doing other tasks as well. Like say, so therefore, for us, it's important that we see that the industry actually, focuses on our hospitality industry is about service. And therefore that core will be maintained. But I think some of the back of house functions can be easily digitalized or transformed from an IT perspective. And that's what we are doing. If you look at some of the new skills which will be required in the future, is data scientists, is social media experts, is analytics skills. So therefore, these are some of the new skills we think will be coming up as a result of digitalization. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so
You're on mute. Sorry.
okay.
All right.
Right. So thank you very much, Mr. Dilip. I think that Milo International is like the best practice for these situations. Okay. So ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kap. And now we actually come to the third speaker of today. And he is Associate Professor Dr. Ian Yeoman from the Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand. And with his tremendous tourism publications, Associate Professor Dr. Ian will give you information on redesigning tourism for a sustainable future. All right, now Dr. Ian is now your floor. Good afternoon, Mr. Ian. Dr. Ian, can you hear us? Hello. Good afternoon. All right. We can see you now. All right.
Could you please turn on your microphone? Dr. Ian, could you please turn on your microphone, please?
Right. It's just down at the bottom on the left. You can just click unmute.
Yes.
Right. No. Can you find unmute button?
Kia ora and welcome from New Zealand.
Right. We can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay, I've changed microphones.
All right. That's very much better. All right. So now it's your floor. Dr. Ian, you can have the session with us, right? Starting from now.
Right, let's just start the slideshow.
Right.
Welcome. It is many of years since I've been to Thailand, and as soon as the doors open and gates open again, I'll be one of the first tourists to return. It's such a beautiful country, very hospitable, and the people are just fantastic. And it's a pity we have COVID-19 at the moment. So I look forward to the return of tourism and my return to Thailand. Right, what I'm going to talk about today is redesigning tourism for a sustainable future. Because COVID-19 has been the biggest disruptor to global tourism in modern times. And nobody can say what the future will be or give you an exact future of when recovery will be and what it will look like. So I'm going to look at a couple of models of sustainability and talk about how tourism will transition into a future world based upon 4 scenarios. And each scenario has some evidence. So let's begin. So across the world, COVID-19 has made us rethink about tourism. Why has it made us rethink? Because when you have such a shock like this, we tend to go back to basics and say, what is important to us in society? And the most important things in society are your family and your friends. And thinking about tourism as your family and your friend, you go back to it. What should it be like? What should tourism look like in the future? Does it give us an opportunity? Does it give us an opportunity to redesign it? And what will the model of tourism be? Without doubt, tourism has changed. Tourism's in this transition world, and we're in and across the world in different countries, in different cities, in different places. COVID-19 has reshaped what the restaurant experience is, what it's like to stay in a park, what's it like in a bar, concepts like social distancing, seamless contact. All of these concepts have changed us. And I think there's a couple of short-term and long-term behavioral and psychological impacts of how COVID-19 is going to change tourism. So it's very important to understand this change and where it's going and where it's coming from. So what I tend to do is say, okay, these are the trends in tourism. And I try to say, how has COVID-19 changed these core trends, these core behaviors of the core value systems and core behaviors that are important to tourism? So you ask the question, which trends have slowed down? Which trends, because of COVID-19, have completely stopped? And in this transition period we've had in the last 18 months, which trends have been more dominant in tourism? And which are the new trends that have advanced and accelerated? So some of these trends are here today. So the slow trends have been things like materialism. And materialism is, those big junkets, the international holiday. And to a certain extent, sustainable living has had to slow down because we're living in a world where we've used more disposable plastic in the last 12 months than we have in the last 10 years because of COVID-19 and health and safety. So some of the sustainable practices about recycling, they've come to a stop because we're using all of this sustainability practice, single-use plastics. Some of the trends that have completely slowed down is mobility. We haven't been able to move. We haven't done that international holiday. We haven't been able to do the bungee jumping here. We have, but we haven't been able to do as much bungee jumping or extreme experience seeking because it seems very materialistic and frivolous. Those great travelers of the world, those baby boomers who have driven that trend of ageless society, they just haven't done it. The cruise holidays have come to a halt. Whereas on the green side of this trend, some of the more dominant trends that we've seen in the last months that come to right at the front have been things like we're asking questions about reconnecting with roots. It's all about friends and family. As a society, because of climate change, consumers, the middle classes, and the youth of today are more active. There's a lot more activism out there. We're protesting, we're demonstrating about climate change. We're asking questions about safety and what a destination is. Is it safe to go out? What is the risk of catching COVID-19? So we're a lot more fragile, we're a lot more risk adverse in the terms of doing that. We've gone back to basics in the terms of a dominant trend. Things that are important are things like simplicity, slowness, rather than a fast society. We want to slow down. And from a tourism perspective, we're seeing a lot more staycations because we haven't got that choice to travel. Automation in restaurants and food service becomes more important because of hygiene. We're more conscious about healthy habits. We're also a bit more price conscious because of consumer confidence, GDP. So we're searching for that bargain and for choice. So one of the ways to address some of the trends in society and seeing what they mean is to do a chart like this, which takes the core trends in tourism, where you can appraise them, and then you can then try and build a product, your experiences. So as we moved on and as we come out of COVID-19, two of the trends will probably be very dominant. One is sustainable living, and sustainable living will move from this red zone to this green zone as consumers are more aware of the environment, more aware of climate change, and this habit becomes permanent. We're in a society where we've got that tipping point. We can't go backwards. And the other trend that will probably dominate in the next 18 months as we come out of COVID-19 and we get global recovery in the terms of tourism is mobility, the desire to travel. I want to visit that foreign country. I want to go to the beach. I want to reconnect with friends and family I haven't seen for 18 months. So if you take all of these trends together, you ask the question, how do these trends impact upon tourism products and experiences? And if you look at where this red circle is, which trends have been accelerated by COVID-19 in the more long term, they're all about sustainability. They're all about that nature, that simplicity, wellness and spa, transformational changes and experiences, trends about nature and adventure. All of these are outdoor experiences, reconnecting with our roots, very basic experiences, very deep experiences. So these are the trends that will probably dominate the landscape from a tourism perspective for the next 3 to 4 years. Whereas other trends will probably see some sort of decline: mass tourism, the all-inclusive resort, long haul, and MICE holidays. So will tourism just go back to pre-COVID-19 levels? Well, the answer is, I don't know. A recent survey from the UNWTO's panel of tourism experts basically was talking about between 2023 to 2024, before we get some sort of degree of normality, before we start to see long haul holidays reappearing and getting back to some of the levels that we saw in 2019. So 2022 and 2023 are still going to be hard years, according to the UNWTO experts. And one of the trends I always ask, will the world get back to normal? And when I think about this, I always think about China, because it's China as a destination that dominates world tourism in the terms of inbound and outbound, in the terms of those tourists. Because pre-COVID-19, there wasn't a destination in the world that wasn't chasing the Chinese tourist and also the wealthy Chinese tourist. So it's symbolic of that film, Crazy Rich Asians. You know, that crazy rich Asian, that middle-class consumer who has wealth and wants to spend it. Because in 2019, if you asked somebody from Thailand or from China or from Singapore in their middle classes, what was your perception of luxury? And if you had more money, what would you want to do? It was always international holiday in the terms of aspiration, in the terms of luxury, in wanting to travel. And that tourist was very much about conspicuous consumption, very much about materialism, very much about showing off their wealth to the rest of the world. And recent research by Euromonitor International has said, China is the #1 destination or the #1 country in the terms of the leading personal luxury market in Asia. It's that market that dominates. However, if you read the book by John Osberg, The Anxious Wealth, he's talking about some subtle changes that are coming on, some emerging trends within the middle classes of that Chinese consumer. So as you see from those two quotations from the book, and that Chinese tourist is changing. They're very much changing from something that's middle class and materialistic to more that's middle class and about experiences and enrichment. It's no longer about flaunting your wealth, because that middle class Chinese consumer, especially from some of the bigger urban destinations, is more educated, is aware of what's going on in the world, and they're becoming a lot more sophisticated. So they're becoming a lot more conscious about the environment, more conscious about climate change. And they're moving from this materialistic world to a very much an experience and an enrichment world. So as the headline says, it is no longer cool to be a crazy rich Asian in China. And that's a very important effect for what is the future of tourism going forward. And that leads us into the debate about sustainability. So what is the future? If I knew what the exact future is, I'd go out there, buy the lottery tickets for this weekend and be a multimillionaire, but I don't. All I can talk about is a range of futures rather than one future. I can talk about a range of options and a range of possibilities. So I have 4 scenarios for you, which I want to talk about and what they mean from a sustainability perspective. My first scenario is called Crazy Rich Asians, and this is about recovery. And this is fundamentally fast recovery. COVID-19 is just like a mild cough. When we think about it and go over the next 2 or 3 years, when we look back, it's basically a V-shaped. It's a V-shaped recession. Whereas scenario 2 is contingent. It's about survival of the fittest. The impact of COVID-19 is collapse in society. Whereas scenario 3, this side of paradise, is another scenario that makes us rethink about what tourism is and what it could be in the future. Whereas the colony is all about COVID-19 actually never gets away. So you have 4 scenarios here: crazy rich Asians, fast recovery of global tourism and the return to mass tourism, strong economic growth, flourishing visitor economy, a strong emphasis on novelty and the experience economy, the importance of social and ecological pressure, because it's about mass tourism and its impact on the environment. It's very much about the individual and it's about hedonistic behavior. Whereas contingent is about disparities of successes and failures. It's about a polarization in society. The rich get richer, but the poorer get poorer, and the middle classes get squeezed. A strong emphasis on competition, especially on price, and a lot about protectionism. So we know COVID-19, it's about COVID-19, and it's about trying to protect us from that. Whereas this side of paradise is the rethinking of tourism. Basically, what we have here is rethinking of tourism and its relationship with the ecotourism experience. It's about sustainability and a balanced future. It's about a consumer that's more conscious, more informed about holiday behavior. And it's about rethinking capitalism. It's capitalism in a sustainability perspective. Whereas the colony as a scenario is all about the squeezing of the middle classes. It's all about COVID-19's out there. It doesn't disappear. It's still here in 2023. It's still here in 2024. Although we have a degree of immunity to it, it's constant. Our behaviors have permanently changed. It's not about global tourism, but more about regional and domestic tourism. It's about gated and island communities. It's about smart destinations and making decisions based upon an information society. It's about tourism and its self-sufficiency. It's a strong focus on health and well-being, collectivism and re-emergency. So what does this mean for sustainability? What does this mean for a sustainable perspective? Because there are a number of models of sustainability. Crazy Rich Asians is a very much an Afroecentrism approach to sustainability. This means it's the human that's the most important thing that's on the planet. It's about me. Contagiant is an approach to sustainability for the super rich. It's very much about exclusiveness. It's about equal resorts. Whereas this side of paradise is about regenerative practice. This is about tourism which is better than the past. The future is very positive. Whereas the colony, the gated community, is the transition towards a sustainable society. We want sustainability, we want that regenerative practice, but it's the hard decisions we have to take in order to achieve sustainability. So it's a disciplined journey towards the future. So what do these four scenarios mean? These four scenarios are fundamentally about four things. Crazy Rich Asians is about recovery. It's about what we call free market environmentalism. It's the private sector that's leading on sustainability practice. It's the consumer that has decided that they're very much into the environment, sustainability, and the trends associated with that. So it's a profitable future. It's all about opportunity in the terms of entrepreneurship, innovation, because where the consumer goes, businesses respond. But this model is all about best practice and bad apples. It's a patchy approach to sustainability. So there's pockets of excellence, but also pockets of badness, because it's the market decides. The market deciding is all about success. Whereas Contagiant is about survival of the fittest, exclusiveness, exclusive eco resorts, beacons of sustainability in a post-apocalyptic world. It's about apartheid tourism, social divide. It's about master and servant. It's about basically wealthy white tourists visiting destinations served by people with a different skin color. It's about economic class, a very strong social divide. Whereas this side of paradise is that regenerative practice. It's about going beyond sustainability. It's basically you're saying the future is better than the past. It's about transformational change, collective action. It's about environmental ethics. So it's a movement from an economic model of tourism to more about social order and a holistic perspective. Whereas the colony, gated communities from a sustainability perspective, is about the hard decisions that you have to take. It's a disciplined approach towards sustainability, but at the same time, trying to maintain balance between social order and the environment with economic order. So basically on this journey, you incentivize sustainable behavior and penalize unsustainable behavior. This journey is hard. It's about incrementalism. It's not about big transformational decisions. It's understanding pragmatism, and it's government-led. And it's always about trying to create balance between growth and sustainability. What is the right balance economically and socially in the terms of social development? Whereas, so next is what happens if you take all of those aspects of sustainability and compare them to the SDGs. And as we know, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And what I have here is examples of examples of a number of them. So as there are 17 SDGs, there's a different emphasis on sustainability within each of the 4 scenarios. So if it's about crazy rich Asians, it's about entrepreneurship. So the emphasis from a sustainability perspective is on decent work and economic growth, because it's creating wealth, it's creating jobs, it's creating a better sphere in life. So it creates cleaner energy because of transport initiatives. Wealth creates infrastructure. Wealth creates demand. So you can build those roads, you can build those airports, you can build that green infrastructure. And this scenario is all about that changing consumer. So the emphasis on sustainable production and consumption. Whereas Contagion is very exclusive. Overall, sustainability has no impact. This is the scenario which is all about unsustainability. So the emphasis here from a sustainability perspective is around those eco resorts. There is some wealth creation. So where you have wealth creation, it's about some jobs and it's about some infrastructure, but it's very potted. It's very isolated. It's all about pockets. Whereas the third scenario, this side of paradise, rethinking tourism. This scenario is basically about partnerships to achieve a regenerative practice and making a society more positive than the past. There's only one way to do it, and that's a partnership of all, a very inclusive approach to tourism. And if people can work together to achieve a holistic system about tourism, you achieve happy, smiley faces, as you have in the diagram, from a sustainability fact. Partnership leads to a sustainable practice. It leads to change. It leads to transformational thinking. Whereas the final scenario, gated community, this disciplined approach. Well, the emphasis here has to be about partnerships, because tough decisions can't be taken in isolation. And basically, from a government perspective, it's about building infrastructure, and it's about cleaner energy to do things. So each scenario has a different emphasis. Each scenario has a different story about sustainability and the future. So I can't tell you what the future is going to be. I think that's up to you. You have to decide on your journey, what is the sustainable future you want? But more importantly, what is the aspects of sustainability do you want? Where do you want to place the change? Is this about poverty reduction in tourism? Is this about food and consumption? Is this about better, cleaner energy? What is the emphasis? Because you can't deliver 17 SDGs overnight. It's one step at a time. So therefore, what are the policy decisions you want to take in order to gain into the future? And if you want to know more details, they're my contact details. Thank you very much.
Alright, so we have questions from, I think, some organizations. Alright, so I'm not sure that they still be in the conference. Okay, so I asked this question instead of them. So the question is, do you think after COVID-19 gone, Thailand tourism still available to be back in the same as previous?
Question, please.
Alright, do you think that after the COVID-19 gone, Thailand tourism still available to be back in the same as the previous?
No,
No.
I don't think so. I don't think that. I think the consumer and the tourist will change in the terms of the value systems that they've got and what their behaviours are. So that's the first starting point. I think Thailand has many challenges and many issues because it also has a picture to the rest of the world about beautiful beaches, very nice people, excellent food, but from a sustainability aspect, it also has some very dark sides. It's known to the world in the terms of sex tourism and human trafficking, and that's a major issue. And one of the big issues with that is also Thailand's known as a very corrupt country, and it's how do they manage sex tourism in many of the red light districts and human trafficking with against the level of corruption. Because one of the issues for Thailand is it has many laws about sustainability, about human trafficking, about sex tourism. But the problem is those laws are not implemented. So it needs change and it needs leadership to address many of the issues around sustainability, to take away the dark sides and the bad sides. Because I know many hoteliers and tourism leaders in Thailand who are very passionate about the future, very passionate about sustainability. So they are the good apples, but it's what do you do about the bad apples?
Alright, thank you. So I think there's one more person who wants to ask the questions, but the staff tried to invite them into the room, but could you please accept the invitation, please?
Is that a question to
we
me?
have one more question.
Yes. So,
Right.
could you please accept the invitation because you can ask Dr. Ian by yourself.
Okay.
All right. So that's fine. It seems like he's unavailable at the moment. But anyway, all the questions will be raised and will be sent to each keynote speaker if there's any, and we will try our best to respond each of the questions. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Ian, right, for your time sharing. All right.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Thank you. Alright, so next it's been such an honor for us to have คุณบุญเสริมขันแก้ว Deputy Director General for Development of Tourism, Department of Tourism. He will present on the topic of redeveloping government policies in the tourism industry. Before we met with คุณบุญเสริม, I would like to inform you all that this presentation will be in Thai language, but don't worry. We will be send the slide to all of you in email, and note that keynote speakers are recorded and all clips will be uploaded on Facebook Kasetsart University, Sriracha campus, and also YouTube channel YouTube KUSRC. Alright, สวัสดีค่ะคุณบุญเสริม
สวัสดีครับคุณบุญเสริม
ค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
คุณ
ได้
บุญ
ยิน
เสริม
ไหมครับ
ได้ยินไหมคะ
ได้ยินครับ
ค่ะคุณบุญเสริม ค่ะโอเคค่ะเรียนเชิญคุณบุญเสริมเริ่มบรรยายได้เลยค่ะ
ครับขอบคุณครับ ต้องขออภัยนะครับที่ไม่สามารถบรรยายเป็นภาษาอังกฤษได้นะครับก็เป็นภาษาไทยอาจจะใช้เวลาสำหรับผู้จัดในการแปลหรือบรีฟช่วงท้ายสักเล็กน้อยนะฮะก่อนอื่นต้องขอบคุณผู้ร่วมเสวนาทุกท่านนะครับที่กรุณาให้ความสนใจเข้าร่วมรับฟังในหัวข้อนี้นะครับการขับเคลื่อนการพัฒนาอุตสาหกรรมการท่องเที่ยวไทยไปสู่ความยั่งยืนนะครับซึ่ง ผมได้รับทราบจากทางผู้จัดว่าก็มีผู้ที่สมัครลงทะเบียนเข้ารับฟังจำนวนมากนะครับแล้วก็ขอบคุณทางมหาวิทยาลัยเกษตรศาสตร์วิทยาเขตศรีราชานะครับที่ได้กรุณาให้เกียรติทางกรมการท่องเที่ยวส่งผู้แทนมาร่วมแลกเปลี่ยนข้อคิดเห็น ในเรื่องนี้ในวันนี้นะครับเวลา30 นาทีตามที่ผู้จัดให้มาเนี่ยผมก็คงสรุปในเรื่องประเด็นสำคัญนะครับแล้วก็เผื่อเวลาไว้สักถามแล้วก็แปลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษในช่วงท้ายสักเล็กน้อยนะครับ ขออภัยครับในเรื่องของการพัฒนาหรือการส่งเสริมการท่องเที่ยวนะครับก็ถือว่าเป็นนโยบายสำคัญของทุกรัฐบาลนะครับที่ได้มองเรื่องท่องเที่ยวเป็นเครื่องมือหรือกลไกที่สำคัญในการพัฒนาเศรษฐกิจของประเทศนะครับเราเคยมีรายได้สูงสุดนะครับในปี 2562 จากการท่องเที่ยวนะฮะเป็นจำนวนถึง3 ล้านล้านบาทนะครับคิดเป็นรายได้ของประเทศหรือคิดเป็นสัดส่วนของ GDP ผลิตภัณฑ์มวลรวมเนี่ยถึงประมาณ 20% นะครับ1 ใน 5ของประเทศเลยนะครับเรื่องการท่องเที่ยวแต่วันนี้เครื่องจักรตัวนี้ก็มีปัญหาได้รับผลกระทบ อย่างเรียกว่าค่อนข้างรุนแรงที่เราไม่เคยเจอมาก่อนนะครับเพราะนั้นในเรื่องนี้ก็คงต้องอาศัยความร่วมมือกับทุกฝ่ายนะครับในการที่จะร่วมกันแก้ไขปัญหานะครับแล้วก็เพื่อฟื้นเศรษฐกิจด้านการท่องเที่ยวของประเทศนะฮะเรื่องท่องเที่ยวคงไม่ได้เบ็ดเสร็จหรือจบที่กระทรวงการท่องเที่ยวและกีฬาแต่เพียงองค์กรเดียวนะครับเรายังมีภาคท้องถิ่นนะฮะทางจังหวัดกลุ่มจังหวัดทางองค์กรปกครองส่วนท้องถิ่นผู้ประกอบการภาคประชาชนที่จะเข้ามามีส่วนร่วมในการพัฒนาแล้วก็ร่วมกันในการแชร์ประโยชน์รายได้จากการท่องเที่ยวนะครับดูตัวเลขสถานการณ์ของทั่วโลกนิดหนึ่งนะฮะในปีที่แล้วปี63นะครับมีนักท่องเที่ยวทั่วโลกลดลงประมาณ 73% นะครับนักท่องเที่ยวณขณะนั้นที่ช่วงพีคเลยประมาณ 1,400 เกือบ 1,500 ล้านคนนะครับลดลง1,000 กว่าล้านคนในปี63ก็เหลือประมาณ381 ล้านคนนี่คือนับจำนวนนักท่องเที่ยวต่างชาติจากทุกประเทศรวมกันนะครับส่วนในประเทศไทยนะครับปี62เนี่ยถือว่าทำตัวเลขจำนวนนักท่องเที่ยวได้สูงสุดเลยเท่าที่เคยมีมาคือ39 ล้านเกือบ40 ล้านคนนะครับปี63เราก็เจอวิกฤตโควิดตั้งแต่ธันวา62เป็นต้นมานะครับก็หล่นลงมาเหลือ6 ล้านกว่าคนนะครับสไลด์ถัดไปครับนะครับอันนี้จะเห็นการเติบโตมาอย่างต่อเนื่องนะครับแล้วก็มาดรอปลงในปีที่แล้วนะครับมาดูปีนี้ครับถัดไปครับครับอันนี้ยังก่อนระบาดระลอก3นะฮะเดือนเมษาช่วงเมษาที่ผ่านมาถือว่าระลอก3อันนี้คือตัวเลขก่อนหน้านั้นนะครับนักท่องเที่ยวต่างชาติที่เข้ามาเที่ยวไทยเนี่ยมีประมาณแค่ 28,000 คนนะฮะลดลงหดตัวนะฮะ 99.5% นะครับถือว่ากระทบอย่างหนักเลยนะครับก็ซัพพลายเชนนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นที่พักร้านอาหารธุรกิจขนส่งต่างๆเนี่ยฮะมัคคุเทศก์บริษัททัวร์นะครับซึ่งเราเคยรองรับนักท่องเที่ยวถึงอันนี้เฉพาะต่างชาตินะครับถึง40 ล้านคนเนี่ยตอนนี้มันเหลือแค่ 28,000 นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นซัพพลายมันล้นตลาดนะครับเกิดการว่างงานขาดรายได้นะครับอันนั้นเป็นมุมในแง่เศรษฐกิจนะครับแต่ถ้ามองในมุมของธรรมชาติโอเคครับมันฟื้นตัวนะฮะธรรมชาติกลับมาขออนุญาตเปิดแมสนะครับ ขออภัยนะครับ หายใจไม่ทัน ใส่แมสแล้วมันจะหายใจลำบากนะขออภัยนะครับ ธรรมชาติฟื้นตัวนะฮะหาดทรายสวยขึ้นน้ำใสขึ้นสัตว์ป่ากลับมาแต่ว่าเศรษฐกิจเราย่ำแย่อย่างนี้มันก็จะไปไม่รอดเหมือนกันนะครับถัดไปครับอันนี้เป็นห่วงโซ่หรือซัพพลายเชนในอุตสาหกรรมท่องเที่ยวนะฮะตัวเลขท้ายๆท่านอาจจะมองไม่เห็นนะครับตัวเลขรายได้จากการท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยจากต่างชาติเที่ยวไทย2 ล้านบาทไทยเที่ยวไทย1 ล้านบาทนะฮะตอนนี้2 ล้านบาทมันหายไปนะครับก็กระทบต่อซัพพลายเชนเหล่านี้นะฮะไม่ว่าจะเป็นธุรกิจขนส่งร้านอาหารแหล่งช้อปปิ้งที่พักต่างๆนะครับอย่างที่เราทราบว่าก็ผู้คนในแวดวงนี้นะฮะรายงานในภาคท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยก็3-4 ล้านคนได้รับผลกระทบนะครับถัดไปครับด้วยเหตุนี้ครับทางรัฐบาลโดยกระทรวงการท่องเที่ยวและกีฬาก็มีนโยบายที่จะฟื้นฟูการท่องเที่ยวนะครับดึงนักท่องเที่ยวต่างชาติกลับมาแบบค่อยเป็นค่อยไปนะครับในขณะเดียวกันก็ควบคู่กับการฟื้นฟูการส่งเสริมให้ท่องเที่ยวในประเทศคือไทยเที่ยวไทยนะครับแต่ว่าในการที่จะเปิดรับนักท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยก็ต้องค่อยเป็นค่อยไปนะฮะรักษาสมดุลระหว่างความปลอดภัยนะฮะในเรื่องสุขอนามัยเรื่องโรคระบาดนะครับกับเศรษฐกิจทำยังไงให้คู่ขนานกันไปได้นะครับอันนี้เราก็มีแผนที่จะเปิดเมืองนะครับตอนนี้ก็อยู่ในช่วงระยะที่2นะครับทุกท่านคงได้ยินจากทางสื่อมวลชนว่าเราจะมีภูเก็ตแซนด์บ็อกซ์นะครับก็เป็นพื้นที่นำร่องซึ่งอีก2 สัปดาห์เนี่ยครับวันที่1 กรกฎาคมก็จะเริ่มเปิดรับนักท่องเที่ยวต่างชาตินะครับอันนี้ก็จะมีเงื่อนไขต่างๆนะครับเช่นต้องฉีดวัคซีนแล้วต้องมาจากกลุ่มประเทศเสี่ยงต่ำนะครับต้องพักในที่พักที่ได้รับการรับรองมาตรฐานเป็นต้นนะครับในการที่ทำเช่นนี้เนี่ยถ้ามันได้ผลดีนะครับก็จะขยับไปในเมืองอื่นๆนะครับที่ทำเช่นนี้เพราะว่าเราคงไม่สามารถที่จะรอให้โควิดมันหายไปแล้วค่อยทำเรื่องเปิดประเทศมันคงเป็นไปไม่ได้เพราะเราก็คาดการณ์ไม่ได้ว่ามันจะจบเมื่อไหร่นะฮะแต่ว่าในการทำเช่นนี้ก็คู่ขนานไปกับมาตรการทางสาธารณสุขนะครับเรื่องสุขอนามัยเรื่องความปลอดภัยนะฮะก็ถ้าได้ผลดีนะฮะระยะ3ก็จะเปิดเพิ่มในเมืองหลักๆนะฮะ10 จังหวัดตามที่ปรากฏในสไลด์แล้วก็เมืองอื่นๆเนี่ยฮะก็มีแผนที่จะเปิดเหมือนกันนะครับก็จะดูจากแซนด์บ็อกซ์ตรงนี้ก่อนนะครับว่าได้ผลดีหรือไม่นะครับถ้าสถานการณ์มันย่ำแย่นะครับโรคระบาดมันรุนแรงขึ้นก็ค่อยปิดหรือจะปรับมาตรการใหม่ก็ค่อยว่ากันในอนาคตนะครับและถ้าในอนาคตถ้าเป็นผลดีนะครับค่อยๆเปิดค่อยๆรับเนี่ยก็คาดว่า1 มกราปีหน้านะครับก็จะเป็นการท่องเที่ยวแบบไม่ต้องกักตัวนะครับถัดไปครับครับผลจากการที่รัฐบาลประกาศเรื่องภูเก็ตแซนด์บ็อกซ์เนี่ยนะฮะก็เริ่มจะมีการจองนะฮะไม่ว่าจะเป็นสายการบินหรือว่าที่พักก็เริ่มมีการจองนะฮะอันนี้ก็เราเริ่มต้นในตอนนี้นะฮะถ้าได้ผลดีเนี่ยในช่วงฤดูหนาวช่วงฤดูการท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยก็น่าจะได้รับการตอบรับมากขึ้นนะครับถัดไปครับ10 เมืองนะครับตามที่ปรากฏในสไลด์เงื่อนไขสำคัญประการหนึ่งคือพลเมืองของเมืองนั้นต้องได้รับวัคซีนประมาณน่าจะไม่ต่ำกว่า 70% นะฮะตามที่รัฐบาลกำหนดนะฮะอันนี้ก็เป็นเงื่อนไขสำคัญอีกประการหนึ่งว่าวัคซีนก็ต้องได้รับครบหรือเกินกว่าที่กำหนดนะครับถัดไปครับเมื่อสัปดาห์ที่แล้วนะครับท่านนายกรัฐมนตรีพลเอกประยุทธ์จันทร์โอชาก็ได้แถลงนโยบายนะครับว่าตั้งเป้าว่าจะเปิดประเทศรับนักท่องเที่ยวภายใน120 วันนะฮะก็น่าจะไปครบ120 วันประมาณตุลานะครับเพราะนั้น เป้าหมายนี้ก็เป็นสิ่งที่ท้าทายนะครับ อย่างวันนี้ดูเหมือนตัวเลขคนติดโควิดก็เหมือนจะเพิ่มขึ้นนะครับ มันก็ยังไม่ค่อยนิ่งเท่าไหร่นะอันนี้ก็ ถือว่าทุกฝ่ายต้องมาร่วมกันนะครับ ถ้าทุกฝ่ายช่วยกันไม่ว่าจะเป็นทางมหาดไทยฝ่ายปกครองนะครับ ทางสาธารณสุข แล้วก็เจ้าบ้านก็คือพลเมืองของเมืองนั้นนะครับ ให้ความร่วมมือเนี่ยก็น่าจะไปได้นะครับ ก็ค่อยๆเปิดคู่ขนานกันไปกับการระมัดระวังเรื่องสุขอนามัยนะครับ ถัดไปครับ อันนั้นเป็นนโยบายในเรื่องของการที่จะดึงต่างชาติกลับมาเที่ยวเมืองไทยนะครับในอีกมุมหนึ่งครับในส่วนของไทยเที่ยวไทยนะฮะก็น่าจะมีโครงการที่เป็นลักษณะของภาครัฐช่วยสนับสนุนค่าใช้จ่ายในการเดินทางนะฮะเช่นโครงการทัวร์เที่ยวไทยโครงการเราเที่ยวด้วยกันซึ่งเคยมีเฟส 1มาแล้วนะฮะอันนี้ทางททท.หรือการท่องเที่ยวแห่งประเทศไทยก็จะเป็นเจ้าภาพหลักในการนำเสนอในการกำหนดหลักเกณฑ์เงื่อนไขในเรื่องนี้ร่วมกับกระทรวงการคลังนะครับก็คิดว่าแคมเปญลักษณะนี้ก็น่าจะมีขึ้นในอีกไม่นานนี้นะครับเพื่อให้กระตุ้นการท่องเที่ยวนอกจากนี้แคมเปญอื่นๆครับเช่นเรื่องของคนละครึ่งยิ่งใช้ยิ่งได้อะไรพวกนี้อันนี้ก็จะมีส่วนช่วยในการเพิ่มค่าใช้จ่ายหรือว่ากระตุ้นการท่องเที่ยวนะครับถัดไปครับกลับมามองในฝั่งเมื่อกี้เราพูดถึงการดึงคนจากต่างชาติเข้าประเทศไทยแล้วก็ส่งเสริมให้คนไทยเที่ยวไทยนะฮะมามองในแง่ของทรัพยากรการท่องเที่ยวครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นแหล่งท่องเที่ยวนะฮะที่พักร้านอาหารต่างๆเนี่ยนะฮะท่านรัฐมนตรีว่าการกระทรวงการท่องเที่ยวและกีฬาท่านพิพัฒน์รัชกิจประการนะครับก็ได้ให้นโยบายเรื่องนี้ไว้ดังนี้นะครับเรื่องความปลอดภัยนะครับในอดีตเรื่องความปลอดภัยเนี่ยในก่อนหน้านี้ที่มีนักท่องเที่ยวถึง40 ล้านคนเนี่ยความปลอดภัยจะอีกมิติหนึ่งครับเป็นเรื่องของอุบัติเหตุทางน้ำทางถนนนะฮะเรื่องของการทำร้ายนักท่องเที่ยวแต่ก่อนหน้านี้เยอะแต่ตอนนี้ลดน้อยลง เพราะไม่มีคนมาเที่ยวนะฮะแต่ความปลอดภัยในความหมายในยุคนี้ก็คงจะเป็นเรื่องของสุขอนามัยนะครับเรื่องความปลอดภัยเรื่องเว้นระยะห่างใส่แมสนะครับล้างมืออะไรพวกนี้นะครับเรื่องความสะอาดครับเนื่องจากว่าเมืองไทยเรามีทรัพยากรการท่องเที่ยวที่มีความหลากหลายนะครับแล้วก็เป็นที่น่าสนใจอยู่แล้วนะครับเพราะนั้นในการพัฒนาปรุงแต่งสถานที่ต่างๆเนี่ยเราคงไม่มีงบประมาณที่จะไปสร้าง man-made attraction นะฮะใหญ่ๆใหม่ๆที่จะดึงคนมาแต่ว่าเรามาปรับปรุงสถานที่ที่มีอยู่เหล่านี้เนี่ยให้เกิดความสะอาดเป็นระเบียบไม่มีขยะเพิ่มพื้นที่สีเขียวอย่างนี้นะฮะอันนี้เป็นเรื่องของความสะอาดเรื่องความเป็นธรรมนะครับก็จะเป็นเรื่องไม่เอารัดเอาเปรียบนักท่องเที่ยวนะครับเรื่องของราคาต่างๆเนี่ยมีการกำหนดราคาที่ได้มาตรฐานนะครับซึ่งสิ่งเหล่านี้ก็จะเป็นการสร้างความประทับใจให้กับนักท่องเที่ยวแล้วมีการกลับมาท่องเที่ยวซ้ำทั้งหมดจะนำไปสู่ความยั่งยืนนะครับถัดไปครับครับในหน่วยงานที่เกี่ยวข้องในการส่งเสริมและพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวก็จะมีการสร้างมาตรฐานนะครับกำหนดมาตรฐานการท่องเที่ยวขึ้นมานะครับเช่นมาตรฐานการท่องเที่ยวไทยมาตรฐานชาหรือ SHA นะครับถัดไปครับครับเช่นมาตรฐานการท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยเราก็จะมีมาตรฐานเป็นหมวดหมู่นะครับเช่นโฮมสเตย์โรงแรมรีสอร์ทอาหารนะครับเรื่องรถขนส่งต่างๆเนี่ยมาตรฐานเหล่านี้ทางกรมท่องเที่ยวได้จัดทำขึ้นเพื่อเป็นไกด์ไลน์เป็นแนวทางให้ผู้ประกอบการเนี่ยไปพัฒนาคุณภาพการให้บริการนะครับแล้วก็ถ้าจะมีการสนใจเข้ารับการตรวจประเมินก็จะมีการตรวจประเมินแล้วก็ให้certificate หรือว่าตราสัญลักษณ์นะครับอันนี้ก็จะเป็นช่องทางหนึ่งในการสร้างความเชื่อมั่นให้กับนักท่องเที่ยวนะครับถัดไปครับในส่วนของททท.หรือการท่องเที่ยวแห่งประเทศไทยนะครับก็ได้จัดทำเรื่องของมาตรฐานความปลอดภัยด้านสุขอนามัยนะครับหรือที่เรียกว่า SHA นะครับ ซึ่งสถานประกอบการทั้ง10หมวดข้างล่างเนี่ยครับภัตตาคารโรงแรมที่ท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยก็สามารถแอพพลายเพื่อสมัครออนไลน์นะครับแล้วก็แนบหลักฐานแนบภาพถ่ายต่างๆเนี่ยคณะกรรมการประเมินก็จะดูว่าผ่านหรือไม่นะฮะเช่นได้สุขอนามัยไหมมีการทำความสะอาดเว้นระยะห่างไหมอย่างนี้นะฮะถ้าผ่านก็จะได้ตราสัญลักษณ์ SHA ซึ่งเราจะเห็นได้มากขึ้นในทุกวันนี้นะครับเช่นพื้นที่นำร่องภูเก็ตแซนด์บ็อกซ์ที่จะเปิดวันที่1 กรกฎาคมเนี่ยก็มีเงื่อนไขว่านักท่องเที่ยวต่างชาติที่มาเมืองไทยจะต้องเข้าพักในสถานบริการโรงแรมที่มี SHA นะฮะอย่างนี้เป็นต้นนะครับอันนี้ก็เป็นเครื่องมือหนึ่งในการที่จะเป็นการพัฒนาคุณภาพการให้บริการด้านการท่องเที่ยวถัดไปครับครับอีกมิติหนึ่งฮะในการพัฒนาเรื่องซัพพลายนะครับทางกระทรวงการท่องเที่ยวและกีฬาก็ได้มีส่วนในการขับเคลื่อนนโยบายรัฐบาลในเรื่องโมเดลเศรษฐกิจ BCG นะฮะ B คือ Bio Economy C คือ Circular Economy G คือ Green Economy นะครับจริงๆแล้วเรื่อง BCG เนี่ยก็ถูกนำไปใช้ในมิติของการเกษตรนะฮะเรื่องพลังงานเรื่องทางการแพทย์เรื่องสุขภาพแต่ในมุมของการท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยทั้ง3ตัวเนี่ยครับก็มุ่งเน้นการใช้ความหลากหลายของทรัพยากรธรรมชาติของไทยนะฮะในการสร้างมูลค่าเพิ่มควบคู่ไปกับการอนุรักษ์การพัฒนาการฟื้นฟูการจัดการไปสู่ความยั่งยืนนะฮะเรื่องของการลดเรื่องของการรักษาสิ่งแวดล้อมนะครับถัดไปครับผมขออนุญาตไปไวๆนะครับภาพนี้เป็นตัวอย่างหนึ่งครับในการพัฒนาที่ผมนำเรียนว่าเราคงไม่สามารถที่จะมีงบประมาณมากพอนะฮะที่จะไปสร้างสิ่งก่อสร้างอะไรที่เป็น man-made attraction ขนาดใหญ่ๆนะฮะอันนั้นคงจะเป็นการส่งเสริมเอกชนให้มีการลงทุนนะฮะเป็นการลดภาษีอะไรก็แล้วแต่ลักษณะที่เราทำเนี่ยเป็นการต่อยอดจากฐานอัตลักษณ์นะฮะเป็นการพัฒนาจากของเดิมให้มันดูดีขึ้นอันนี้เป็นตัวอย่างของบ้านพักหลังหนึ่งที่เป็นโฮมสเตย์นะฮะเราก็ไปส่งเสริมชาวบ้านประชาชนว่าเราปรับแต่งสักนิดนึงให้มันดูดีจัดระเบียบแล้วภาพซ้ายภาพขวาเนี่ยก็จะเห็นความแตกต่างว่ามันดูดีขึ้นนะครับโดยที่ไม่ได้ใช้งบประมาณอะไรมากอันนี้แอพพลายไปในลักษณะเดียวกันกับของแหล่งท่องเที่ยวนะฮะหลายๆที่เนี่ยสภาพธรรมชาติสวยงามแต่ถ้าเราปล่อยให้มันยากขึ้นรกรุงรังไม่มีการจัดระเบียบนะฮะอันนี้มันก็จะลงทุนไปเท่าไหร่มันก็คงไม่ดีขึ้นนะฮะแต่ถ้าเราปรับของเดิมที่มันมีอยู่เนี่ยจัดระเบียบให้มาดูเรียบร้อยเนี่ยอันนี้ก็จะเป็นการสร้างมูลค่าเพิ่มแล้วก็เป็นความเก๋ไก๋ไปอีกแบบหนึ่งนะครับไม่หรูหราไม่สะดวกสบายแต่ก็มีอัตลักษณ์เก๋ไก๋ไปอีกแบบหนึ่งนะครับในเรื่องท่องเที่ยวนี่มันก็ต้องอาศัยความหลากหลายนะครับมาดูกลไกการพัฒนาหรือว่าการขับเคลื่อนถัดไปครับการขับเคลื่อนอุตสาหกรรมท่องเที่ยวไทยถัดไปครับครับหน้านี้ครับมีกฎหมายอยู่ฉบับหนึ่งครับเรียกว่าพระราชบัญญัตินโยบายการท่องเที่ยวแห่งชาติย้อนกลับมานิดนึงครับครับขอบคุณครับกฎหมายฉบับนี้กำหนดให้มีการตั้งคณะกรรมการนโยบายการท่องเที่ยวแห่งชาตินะครับคณะกรรมการนี้เป็นบอร์ดระดับชาติเลยนะครับที่มีนายกรัฐมนตรีเป็นประธานแล้วก็มีรัฐมนตรีกระทรวงที่เกี่ยวข้องปลัดกระทรวงที่เกี่ยวข้องเนี่ยทั้งหมดประมาณ11กระทรวงนะฮะเข้ามาร่วมในคณะกรรมการนี้มีภาคเอกชนมีองค์กรปกครองส่วนท้องถิ่นทำหน้าที่ในการกำหนดทิศทางการพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวของประเทศนะครับถัดไปครับนอกจากกรรมการระดับชาติแล้วยังมีกฎหมายฉบับนี้ยังกำหนดให้มีการจัดตั้งคณะกรรมการประจำระดับพื้นที่ทางกระทรวงท่องเที่ยวและกีฬาเรียกว่าคณะกรรมการพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวประจำเขตพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวซึ่งทุกวันนี้เรามี15เขตครับเช่นทางเหนือเขตอารยธรรมล้านนาอีสานใต้เขตอารยธรรมอีสานใต้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะครับก็จะมีทั้งหมด15เขตซึ่งครอบคลุม60จังหวัดครับที่ไม่ครบทั้งทุกจังหวัดเนื่องจากว่าก็เลือกกลุ่มจังหวัดที่มีความสำคัญ ด้านการท่องเที่ยวก่อนนะฮะในเขตหนึ่งก็จะมีประมาณ3จังหวัด4จังหวัดแล้วแต่พื้นที่นะฮะก็จะมีคณะกรรมการประจำเขตนะฮะโดยผู้ว่าราชการจังหวัดใดจังหวัดหนึ่งเนี่ยก็จะเป็นประธานของเขตนั้นๆนะครับซึ่งก็ล้อมาจากคณะกรรมการระดับชาตินะครับซึ่งก็จะมีหน่วยงานเกี่ยวข้องในพื้นที่เข้ามามีส่วนร่วมมีภาคเอกชนมีองค์กรปกครองส่วนท้องถิ่นเข้ามาร่วมนะฮะอันนี้ก็จะเป็นการนำข้อเสนอปัญหาอุปสรรคขึ้นข้างบนคณะกรรมการท่องเที่ยวแห่งชาตินะครับถัดไปครับครับนอกจากนี้คณะกรรมการนโยบายการท่องเที่ยวแห่งชาติก็ยังมีการประกาศเรื่องแผนพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวแห่งชาตินะครับซึ่งตอนนี้อันนี้เราสามารถสืบค้นได้จากทางอินเทอร์เน็ตนะครับก็จะเป็นกรอบทิศทางในการพัฒนาการท่องเที่ยวนะครับซึ่งปี66ถึง70เนี่ยก็จะเป็นแผนที่3ซึ่งขณะนี้กำลังจัดทำอยู่นะครับถัดไปครับถัดไปครับก็มาถึงพาร์ทสุดท้ายนะครับผมน่าจะใช้เวลาเกินมานิดหนึ่งนะฮะก็อันนี้เป็นพาร์ทที่เกี่ยวกับเรื่องของศักยภาพในด้านการท่องเที่ยวของประเทศนะครับผมคิดว่ายังไงก็แล้วแต่ในเมืองไทยก็ยังเป็นจุดหมายปลายทางของอีกคนอีกจำนวนมากนะครับที่อยากจะมานะครับถ้าเนื่องจากว่านอกจากเรื่องความหลากหลายของทรัพยากรธรรมชาตินะครับเรื่องของคนไทยฮะเรื่องการเป็นเจ้าบ้านที่ดีนะครับเรายังมีโครงสร้างพื้นฐานที่พัฒนาไปค่อนข้างเยอะนะครับถนนหนทางรถไฟรางคู่มอเตอร์เวย์นะครับอันนี้ก็เราจะสัมผัสได้นะครับจากที่เราเห็นทุกวันนี้นะครับก็จะมีถนนก็เดินทางได้สะดวกขึ้นนะครับถัดไปครับอีก 3-4 ปีข้างหน้านะครับก็จะมีโครงการเชื่อมต่อสนามบินนะฮะที่จากดอนเมืองไปสุวรรณภูมิแล้วก็ไปอุตภเปานะครับซึ่งจากอุตภเปาเข้ามาดอนเมืองเนี่ยใช้เวลาไม่ถึงชั่วโมงครับนะฮะอันนี้ก็จะทำให้สนามบินเราใหญ่ขึ้นนะฮะแล้วก็เหมือนกับว่าเกตเวย์หรือประตูเข้าประเทศไทยเนี่ยมันสะดวกขึ้นก็อาจจะไม่ต้องไปรอที่ด่านตรวจคนเข้าเมืองนานนะฮะเพราะเรามีการขยายออกไปนะครับอันนี้ก็เป็นศักยภาพและโอกาสในอนาคตนะครับถัดไปครับถนนหนทางในเมืองไทยนะครับก็ดีขึ้นนะฮะหลายๆสายก็เป็นถนนสายท่องเที่ยวหลายๆที่ก็มีการถ่ายรูปโพสต์ลงในสื่อโซเชียลมีเดียก็ดูสวยงามนะครับบางที่เป็นถนนสายดอกไม้นะครับอันนี้ผมคิดว่าทำให้ส่งเสริมบรรยากาศการท่องเที่ยวของประเทศนะครับถัดไปครับอันนี้ไม่ใช่เฉพาะในเมืองไทยนะครับเพื่อนบ้านเราก็มีการพัฒนาไปเยอะนะฮะปลายปีนี้จะมีการเปิดรถไฟเส้นทางรถไฟจากคุนหมิงมาเวียงจันทร์นะครับของบ้านเรานี่ยังไม่ได้ต่อเชื่อมนะครับแต่ว่าอันนี้ในอนาคตถ้าต่อเชื่อมได้เนี่ยก็จะเป็นการเพิ่มศักยภาพนะครับนักท่องเที่ยวที่มาจากจีนเนี่ยคิดว่าจำนวนไม่น้อยนะครับที่จะมาเส้นทางนี้นะครับอันนี้ก็อยากให้กำลังใจกับทุกท่านนะครับที่อยู่ในอุตสาหกรรมการท่องเที่ยวหรือน้องๆนักศึกษาที่กำลังจะตัดสินใจว่าจะเรียนวิชาท่องเที่ยวต่อ หรือจะไปสาขาอื่นนะฮะผมก็ยังมองว่าศักยภาพและโอกาสของประเทศไทยเนี่ยยังมีสูงนะครับที่จะรับคนได้40 ล้านคนจริงๆแล้วก็ไม่ได้กังวลเรื่องปริมาณเท่าไหร่นะฮะจริงๆแล้วมันมีช่องทางอื่นเช่นพัฒนาสินค้าบริการเราให้ดีขึ้นแล้วก็หมายถึงว่ามีมูลค่าเพิ่มสูงขึ้นนะฮะเราก็ไม่จำเป็นต้องไปวอรี่กับการที่จะต้องดึงคนมามากๆมันอยู่ที่รายได้มากกว่านะครับทีนี้ก็อย่างที่เรียนว่าเราก็มีการพัฒนาสินค้าและบริการควบคู่ไปด้วยนะครับสุดท้ายครับอันนี้เป็นการคาดการณ์เป้าหมายนะครับว่าถ้าแผนเปิดประเทศได้ผลนะฮะแล้วเรื่องโรคระบาดอะไรมันดีขึ้นนะฮะก็คิดว่า ในปี65เนี่ยน่าจะมีนักท่องเที่ยวเข้ามาในประเทศไทยเนี่ยประมาณ20ล้านคนครึ่งหนึ่งนะฮะของที่เคยเข้ามานะครับก็จะเป็นไปได้หรือไม่เนี่ยมันก็เป็นเรื่องการพยากรณ์นะฮะมันอาจจะไม่ถึงก็ได้หรือว่าเข้ามาน้อยๆแต่มีการใช้จ่ายสูงเราก็อยู่ได้นะครับนี่ก็เป็นการคาดการณ์แล้วก็อยากจะโชว์ตัวเลขเพื่อให้กำลังใจกับทุกท่านนะฮะที่อยู่ในแวดวงอุตสาหกรรมท่องเที่ยวว่ามันมีความเป็นไปได้นะครับในการเติบโตด้านการท่องเที่ยวผมคงจะใช้เวลาสรุปคร่าวๆประมาณนี้นะฮะเผื่อท่านใดมีคำถามแล้วก็ทางผู้จัดจะได้บรีฟเป็นภาษาอังกฤษสั้นๆนะครับขอบพระคุณครับ
ครับขอบคุณมากเลยครับคุณเสริม
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ทีนี้เนี่ยเรามีคำถามนะครับมาจากทางบ้านเนาะจากคุณจิรัตน์นะครับจะเรียนถามคุณเสริมนะครับว่าบัณฑิตที่จบแล้วและกำลังศึกษาอยู่ทางด้านอุตสาหกรรมการท่องเที่ยวมีความกังวลว่าจะทำงานในสายงานท่องเที่ยวอย่างไรต่อไปหรือทางกระทรวงมีแนวทางในการพัฒนาบุคลากรทางการท่องเที่ยวอย่างไรบ้างครับ
ครับในเรื่องของการพัฒนาในเรื่องของศักยภาพและโอกาสเนี่ยอย่างที่ผมได้นำเรียนได้ยินไหมครับขอโทษนะครับผมไม่ได้ยินนะขออภัยครับผมไม่ได้ยินครับอีกฮัลโหลได้ยินไหมครับ
ค่ะคุณบุญเสริม
ครับ
คุณบุญเสริมได้ยินไหมคะ
ครับได้ยินครับผมคิดว่าบุคลากรเนี่ยฮะคนที่ไปทำงานภาคบริการท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยมีความสำคัญนะครับที่จะต้องพัฒนาต่อเนื่องนะครับส่วนในเรื่องของการกังวลว่าจะมีนักท่องเที่ยวน้อยไม่มีงานทำเนี่ยนะครับอันนี้มันคาดการไม่ได้ครับว่ามันจะน้อยไปนานขนาดไหนนะฮะแต่ผมคิดว่าโอกาสที่มันจะเพิ่มมีนะครับการพัฒนาบุคลากรในอุตสาหกรรมการท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยของประเทศไทยเราก็ไม่น้อยหน้านะครับในเรื่องของเป็นผู้นำในเรื่องของการให้บริการนะครับแล้วในอนาคตเนี่ยถ้าสถานการณ์ดีขึ้นนะครับในอาเซียนเราเนี่ยก็มีเรื่องของ MRA นะฮะ MRA หมายถึงว่าการเคลื่อนย้ายบุคลากรภาคการท่องเที่ยวระหว่างกันนะครับเราที่มีความรู้ความชำนาญเรื่องสมมติว่าเรื่องการโรงแรมเนี่ยจะไปทำงานในฟิลิปปินส์นะฮะหรือฟิลิปปินส์จะมาทำงานที่บ้านเราเนี่ยอันนี้ในกรอบความร่วมมืออาเซียนเนี่ยก็มีข้อตกลงหนึ่งนะฮะที่จะให้มีการเคลื่อนย้ายบุคลากรในด้านนี้เพราะนั้นความหมายคือไม่ใช่เราจะพัฒนาบุคลากรเพื่อรองรับในประเทศนะครับในอนาคตเนี่ยผมว่าในภูมิภาคก็จะมีการเชื่อมโยงถึงกันครับก็อยากให้กำลังใจนะครับว่าใครที่เรียนท่องเที่ยวอยู่ก็เรียนต่อไปครับแล้วก็มันยังมีภาคธุรกิจบริการที่เกี่ยวเนื่องนะฮะที่สามารถรองรับพวกเราได้นะครับ
ขออนุญาตครับ
ครับ
สอบถามครับท่านบุญเสริมครับว่ากรณีที่ตอนเนี้ยรู้ว่าเนี้ยการท่องเที่ยวตอนเนี้ยนักท่องเที่ยวเนี่ยตกงานเยอะทางกรมมีอะไรรองรับพวกอาชีพนักท่องเที่ยวไหมหลังจากโควิดไปแล้วนะครับเพราะว่าเห็นตอนนี้แบบทางกรมแบบไม่ทำอะไรเลยนิ่งเงียบไม่ซัพพอร์ตอาชีพของนักท่องเที่ยวไม่ซัพพอร์ตเป็นที่ไกด์ตัวเนี้ยเราถามว่าตอนเนี้ยกรมมีนโยบายชดเชยของไกด์ไหมวันนี้นะฮะเพราะว่าเห็นแล้วแบบประหลาดใจผมว่าเป็นไกด์เหมือนกันนะครับแต่ถามว่าทางกรมเนี่ยมีนโยบายอะไรที่มาชดเชยมาแบบไงแบบนี้ก็แบบมาส่งเสริมหลังโควิดแล้วให้กันเพราะว่าอย่าลืมว่าไกด์เนี่ยที่ไกด์เนี่ยเป็นด่านหน้าของประเทศเลยนะท่องเที่ยวถูกไหมครับ
ครับ
แล้วมันพูดด้วยว่าตอนเนี้ยผมกล่าวว่าตอนเนี้ยไกด์ตรงเนี้ยหลายท่านเนี่ยหนึ่งคือวัคซีนไม่ได้เลยนะฮะหลายคนสองพวกนี้ก็คือนักท่องเที่ยวไม่มีเลยสามตอนเนี้ยไกด์ส่วนใหญ่ว่างงานเยอะถามว่าหมดโควิดพวกเนี้ยหนึ่งผมอยากให้ทางกรมเนี่ยช่วยผลักดันเรื่องการฉีดวัคซีนให้ไกด์ครบเร็วขึ้นได้ไหม อย่าไปหวังพึ่งแต่อสมว่าอสมเฉพาะในหมู่บ้านเท่านั้นแต่ไกด์เนี่ยเป็นด่านหน้านะครับ ในการเจอแขกเจอนักท่องเที่ยว2คุณมั่นใจไหมว่าแซนด์บ็อกโครงการแซนด์บ็อกที่ภูเก็ตเนี่ยแซนด์บ็อกที่ภูเก็ตเนี่ยจะได้รับความนิยมแค่ไหนมากแค่ไหน3แล้วก็หลังโควิดแล้วไกด์จะมีไกด์พวกหลังประเทศเนี่ยจะได้กลับมาทำงานเต็มที่ไหมหรือว่าต้องรออะไรแต่เดี๋ยวนั้นผมอยากเรียนว่าอยากให้ทางกรมเนี่ยช่วยผลักดันให้ไกด์ทุกคนอ่ะอาชีพไกด์ทุกคนอ่ะฉีดวัคซีนก่อนได้ไหมก่อนที่จะเปิดประเทศนะครับเพราะว่าอาชีพไกด์เนี่ยเป็นอาชีพที่สำคัญสำหรับนักท่องเที่ยวแล้ว
ครับ
นะฮะ
ครับ
ก็แผนต่อไปคือนโยบายของกรมเนี่ยที่จะชดเชยการว่างงานของไกด์เนี่ยมีอะไรไหมโครงการต่อไปของกรมอยากทราบแค่นี้ครับขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณมากครับก็เรื่องไกด์ก็เป็นภาคกลุ่มคนกลุ่มหนึ่งซึ่งไม่น้อยเลยนะฮะ3-4-5 หมื่นคนนะครับซึ่งถือว่าเป็นกลุ่มใหญ่มากอันนี้กรมให้ความสำคัญนะครับไม่ใช่ว่าจะเรื่องละเลยอะไรนะฮะต้องเรียนอย่างนี้ก่อนนะครับแล้วก็สิ่งที่ได้ร่วมกับกระทรวงในการขับเคลื่อนเนี่ยก็พยายามที่จะให้มีการเปิดประเทศหรือมีการท่องเที่ยวนะฮะเพื่อที่จะให้ไม่ใช่ไกด์อย่างเดียวนะฮะธุรกิจภาคอื่นเนี่ยได้มีรายได้มาหมุนเวียนด้วยนะครับอันนี้คือในภาพใหญ่ส่วนในภาพเจาะลงมาเรื่องของการชดเชยเนี่ยนะฮะผมต้องขออนุญาตนะครับว่าพอดีผมอาจจะไม่มีข้อมูลเชิงลึกในเรื่องของไกด์โดยตรงนะครับแต่ว่ามันจะมีมาตรการช่วยเหลือในอดีตที่ผ่านมาที่เรื่องของผมเข้าใจว่าจะเป็นพวกเงินกู้อะไรพวกนี้ใช่ไหมครับนะฮะดอกเบี้ยต่ำอะไรพวกนี้นะฮะอันนั้นก็ส่วนหนึ่งนะครับส่วนเรื่องวัคซีนเนี่ยล่าสุดนี้นะครับทางกระทรวงก็ได้มีโควต้านะครับที่จะขอไปทางกระทรวงสาธารณสุขประมาณ 5,000 นะครับต้องเรียนตัวเลขเลยแต่ว่าก็มีการรวบรวมรายชื่อเลขบัตรประชาชนต่างๆเนี่ยเสนอไปที่กระทรวงเพื่อจะแจ้งกระทรวงสาธารณสุขเพราะเรื่องวัคซีนเนี่ยเขาจะต้องให้มีระบุตัวตนให้ชัดเจนนะครับในเรื่องของการพัฒนาคนนะฮะในเรื่องการพัฒนามะกุเทศเนี่ยก็จะมีการอบรมคู่ขนานกันไปแต่ว่าต้องยอมรับว่าบางทีก็ทำได้ไม่ทั่วถึงนะครับในเรื่องของภูเก็ตแซนด์บ็อกซ์เนี่ยก็เป็นเรื่องของการนำร่องนะครับถ้าเราไม่ทำอะไรเลยเนี่ยมันก็ยังไม่รู้ว่ามันจะเจอทางออกเมื่อไหร่นะฮะเพราะนั้นก็ยังไม่ได้บอกว่ามันจะสำเร็จหรือมันจะล้มเหลวนะครับมันต้องเริ่มเปิดไปก่อนแล้วก็เรียนรู้จากข้อจำกัดเหล่านั้นแล้วก็หาทางแก้นะครับผมเรียนอาจจะตอบไม่ตรงประเด็นทั้งหมดนะครับแล้วก็ทราบดีว่าปัญหาในเรื่องความเดือดร้อนในเรื่องของการไม่มีงานทำเนี่ยค่อนข้างเยอะนะครับบางทีกรมการท่องเที่ยวไปฝึกอบรมอาชีพไปอบรมให้เนี่ยมันก็ยังไม่ตอบสนองเพียงพอต่อความต้องการที่เกิดขึ้นนะครับก็เรียนว่าเราจะพยายามทำเต็มที่นะครับในการที่จะพัฒนาเรื่องของมัคคุเทศก์นะครับขอบคุณครับ
ขอบพระคุณคุณบุญเสริมมากๆนะคะที่เป็นเกียรติมาบรรยายในวันนี้นะคะแล้วก็สำหรับคำถามอื่นๆนะเดี๋ยวเราจะทำการรวบรวมนะคะแล้วก็จะทำการส่งไปให้คุณบุญเสริมแล้วก็จะตอบกลับไปผ่านทางอีเมลนะคะ To sum up in this session, there are like 4 phases of tourism recovery plans for dealing with the situations. The first phase, open the country for vaccinated tourists and quarantine for a specific period of time from April to June. Next, the second phase, Phuket Sandbox, by open Phuket for vaccinated tourists from July to September. Phase 3, from October to December, 9 major tourist destinations such as Krabi, Phang Nga, Surat Thani, Chiang Mai, Chonburi, Buriram, Phewburi, Prachuap Khiri Khan, and Bangkok will join Phuket in lifting quarantine requirement for vaccinated foreign tourists. And lastly, phase 4, starting January 1st, 2022, whereby any foreign tourists who have been vaccinated against COVID-19 and holds a vaccine passport will be able to enter Thailand without having a quarantine.
All right. Thank you very much ครับคุณเสริม
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ครับ so time flies
Yes.
so we finally come to the last guest speaker of today
Right.
คุณชัดทันกุลชรณอยุธยา he is currently holds a position of the Deputy Governor for International Marketing Asia and South Pacific from the Tourism Authority of Thailand.
Right.
So I am sure everyone is expecting him, and today he will talk about the marketing promotion to support the tourism industry. So now, please welcome คุณชัดทันกุลชรณอยุธยา to be on screen, please. เรียนเชิญคุณชัดทันได้เลยนะครับ
ค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ คุณชัดทันสวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
ค่ะเรียน
โอเคนะครับก็โอเคครับก็hello good afternoon everyone good afternoon to all the panelists and all the attendees it's an honor and a pleasure for me to be here at the Kasetsart University Sriracha Campus International Conference 2021 under the theme of rethinking, redesigning, redeveloping for our future sustainable tourism growth. My talk today will feature things about the marketing side, how to promote Thailand to potential travelers, especially now in this very challenging period of COVID-19, where we have to do certain different things, certain things we've never done before, certain things we have to learn on the go, and certain things we have to adapt from things we have done before. Okay, so let's get into it. The topic is marketing promotion to support the tourism industry. Next slide, please. First of all, let's look at the numbers, okay? This is for 2021, this year. Just to give you some perspective, in 2019, we welcomed nearly 39 or nearly 40 million international visitors to the country, okay? Last year, we got 6.7 million, so it was a huge drop from the previous year, okay? This year is, again, a challenge in terms of arrivals. The COVID-19 situation has not settled down. There's still a lot of infections everywhere. There's still a lot of travel restrictions here in Thailand and in other countries going outbound. So therefore, we have had to revise our target to this one. The total target for international visitor arrivals this year, that means by the end of December this year, will be 3 million people, okay? That is the target. Whether or not we achieve or we exceed this number remains to be seen. It will, of course, depend on a lot of matters that other speakers have talked about, okay? But let's look at the breakdown. From Northeast Asia, meaning the countries of China, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, mainly, okay? That we are figuring that we'll get 1.1 million. From South Asia, meaning India and other countries, we might get up to 36,000. And from ASEAN, that is, all our neighboring countries, we hope to get 768,000. And from Oceania, we will get 21,000. This is from Asia only, okay? And the rest will be from Europe and from the Americas and a few from Africa as well. So in total, Europe, we are hoping to get 1.03 million. Okay, so altogether, for the whole year, from January to December of this year, we hope to get 3 million people. Okay, like I said, the numbers are being constantly revised in tune with the developing situation. Developing situation meaning the vaccine rollout, meaning the pandemic situation, the infection situation, and the fact that countries are reopening or not reopening, and then they have measures to be to contend with. Okay, next slide, please. So a lot of people are asking, how do we move forward? Okay, we know what the situation is day to day, but we have to look forward. We have to look ahead. And in doing so, we need a plan on how we are moving to recapture the markets, get tourism to be active again, get tourists to come to our shores again, okay? In that sense, we have to do a few things, okay? To make it easier for you to understand, there are like 5 phases in 3 steps, okay? First, we have to reboot, which we are doing now, meaning reopening the country, getting the message out that the country is ready to open to foreign visitors, getting businesses involved, getting all the tourism infrastructure ready, okay? We also have to rebuild meaning that, you know, things that need fixing, you know, maybe they haven't been receiving tourism or haven't been in the tourism industry a long time, you know, haven't been active. We need to rebuild everything, okay? We need to rebrand, okay? This is the new Thailand now. It will not be the Thailand as a tourist destination that people were familiar with 2 years ago. This is a new kind of Thailand. We need to rebrand and refocus the interest of people to certain things. Rebound, meaning that we get people to come, we get people to spend money here in Thailand, and hopefully that will galvanize certain segments of the economy, which will in turn galvanize a larger portion of the economy, okay? And it's a time for rebalance, meaning that gone are the days where we just rely on mass tourism. We will get tens and tens of millions of visitors. That will not happen in the foreseeable future, okay? Every country's tourism industry will need time to get back on their feet, will need time to reskill, you know, train people again, get people into the workforce. And so it's a good time to rebalance, meaning that we want tourism, but we don't want tourism that damages the economy, that damages culture, that damages nature. Okay, so it's a good time to find a balance about that. Okay, the 3 steps I mentioned, the 3 phases, the big phases, will be lockdown exit, selective open, and extensive open. Okay, as of now, until the end of this month, we have been in lockdown exit. That means that we have really not been receiving international visitors for various reasons. Maybe it's because of our own pandemic situation. Maybe it's because we are not ready in certain aspects. Maybe it's because the other countries, they're not allowing people to travel outside the country. Okay, so this is lockdown exit territory. But starting from July 1st, hopefully until the end of the year, or maybe until the 3rd quarter of this year ends, we will be in selective open mode. That means that we will open certain parts of the country to international travel. We will get certain countries to come to Thailand for leisure purposes in the country. And hopefully if that goes well, you know, no big surprises, no big problems, Then we move to step 3, extensive open. That means that we open the country, every part of the country, to all visitors from everywhere. Okay, that is the goal. But before we get to step 3, we have to pass step 2, selective open first. Next slide, please. Also, this is a concept which you've been hearing about. It's called BCG. Okay, Kun Bunserum has already touched upon it. You know, BCG, Biocircular Green Economies. Okay, it's what is called the new sustainable growth engine. Okay, of course, like I said, we want tourism, we want income from tourism, but at the same time, we must achieve a balance so that the environment, the people can continue to thrive from the income and from all the benefits that tourism will bring. Okay, whether it's international tourism or domestic tourism, we need to adhere and follow the principle of BCG. The main idea being that when travel happens, people should benefit, not only in terms of income, but in terms of well-being, in terms of culturally improving the life and livelihood of the people, of not only the visitors, but also the locals as well. So we need to ensure that when people travel, they distribute the income as much as possible and everyone wins. No one is left behind. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as you may have heard, we are reopening Phuket on July 1st, which is just a few days away. And then following that, we will be reopening Koh Samui and the outlying islands, nearby islands, on the 15th of July, okay? We are using the concept called city marketing. City marketing. It's a concept whereby we are trying to focus on just opening one city at a time to international travel, okay? We are focusing on how to sell and promote each particular destination at a time to a particular segment or to a particular country at a time, okay? So one reason why we are doing this is that if you notice, people, they want to travel, okay? Especially in COVID times or in post-COVID-19 times, they want to travel, but maybe they don't want to travel around so much, okay? So maybe when they travel, they want to stick to a place. They want to just be in a place as much as they can, one city at a time, okay? And then they might extend their trip to another city, or they go back to their home country, okay? So this is why the city marketing concept is developed, okay? Because we feel that travelers' behavior are changing, not will change, but are changing. And when they get a chance to travel, they most likely will try to immerse themselves in what one city has to offer first before they venture outside that city, okay? And also, if, and this is a fact that is happening now, if you look at the infection rate of the country on a daily basis, let's be honest, let's face it, it's not great. You know, today, over 4,000 people, you know, tested positive, okay? And the number has been in the thousands for quite some time now. But for certain destinations, certain tourist destinations in Thailand, there's relatively no infection. So we might as well focus people's attention, especially those that are wanting to travel to Thailand, on those destinations. Phuket and Koh Samui, they're good examples of zero infections for a few days now, actually for over a week now. Okay, so we try to mention and promote the news that, look, Thailand as a whole, we're battling the infections. But if you want to limit your trip to only Phuket, to only Koh Samui, you'll be relatively safe because the infection rate there is 0. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the timeline. This is what we've been discussing with all the stakeholders, the locals in each province. So this is the timeline. Okay, on the screen, like I said, Phuket will be 1st of July, followed by Koh Samui. Koh Tao, Koh Phangan will be on the 15th of July. And then also in August, okay, PP, Krabi province and Phang Nga province will open with sealed routes, meaning that tourists can go to these provinces, but when they want to travel outside the hotel, they have to travel along certain routes as designated by those provinces. Okay, and then in September, most likely the other provinces will become ready, such as Chiang Mai, Chonburi, Buriram. Okay, so again, those will have sealed routes or certain limits to where you can travel to. And then hopefully, if everything goes well, Bangkok, Cha-am, Hua Hin area will open without quarantine on the 1st of October. Okay, this is the plan, the roadmap. Of course, like I said, everything can change. Things may be delayed. The openings, some openings will be delayed. Hopefully that won't happen. But also some openings might be moved up if everything gets ready, the situation improves, and also is dependent, the opening of any destination is dependent upon the vaccine rollout. The goal is to have at least 70% herd immunity in each destination before it is open to foreign travel. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is basically the customer journey. Okay, it's of course in Thai. I apologize for that, but it is lots of process, lots of things to go through, but it is for the safety of the traveler as well as for the locals. Okay, I will not go into detail because this is not even all of it. This is only a part of it, but this is the new normal. Okay, there's what to do before you arrive in Thailand, whether it's Phuket or Koh Samui or elsewhere. What to do, for example, you must be already vaccinated with an approved vaccine either by Thailand or by the WHO, the World Health Organization. You must already have taken a rapid test, PCR test, before you arrive, so on and so forth, okay? Once, when you arrive at the airport, you'll be going through certain measures, okay? Perhaps also another PCR test. And then, of course, before you arrive, you must also have booked what is called a SHA Plus, SHA Plus accommodation. While here, okay, and this is dependent upon certain destinations. It has the different rules to go by, which you must be familiar with. And not only the tourists must be familiar with these rules, but the locals, the officials, the people in the tourism industry in each destination must be familiar with what to do when tourists come, okay? For example, in Phuket, okay, 1st of July, when you land, after going through all the processes, you can travel in Phuket without any quarantine, but you must remain in Phuket only for at least 14 nights before you are allowed to travel to other parts of the country, okay? However, if you do not choose to go to other parts of Thailand beyond Phuket, okay, beyond the province of Phuket, then you can return home. You can stay for 3 nights, 7 nights, whatever, okay, return home or go to a third country, okay? So that is basically the general rule, but there are other rules involved, which is you need to perhaps be able to be located when you're on the island, when you're in the province, so on and so forth. So not to scare anyone, but these rules are for the safety of the traveler as well as for the safety of the locals and the people working in the tourism industry, okay? And of course, anywhere you go, in any province in Thailand, you must adhere to the DMHTTA measures. Always wear a mask, social distancing, hand gels, hand sanitizers, and applications, and so on and so forth. Okay, and also, you know, you can enjoy your time within the measures, okay, that are stipulated for each country, for each destination. Okay, it is, like I said, also kind of a rebalance where we have to balance the enjoyment of tourists with the balance of health and safety measures. Okay, so it's something totally new. Thailand has never had to do this. It's a totally new experience for everyone. And I'm sure that it's a learning process, okay? Nothing is assured of working 100%. I think it takes time for people, both the tourists and the locals, to adjust to these new measures, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, so I did this presentation a while ago, last year, you know, when COVID was still going on. I adjusted a few things. The next several slides will show you what we are thinking about marketing, okay? Whether or not we have COVID to contend with, there are certain things that in our plans are not changing, like the target segments, I mean, long-term anyhow, medium to long-term. Short-term, there will be a few changes, but once COVID-19 has subsided, once the situation has improved, then we follow the roadmap of marketing that we have set to capture the markets that we want. Okay, so I love movies, so I always think that we have to. Sometimes it's easier when we think in terms of movies, what the movies tell us to do. There's a movie called Begin Again. So yeah, you know, after COVID, actually not even after COVID, but we are beginning again, you know. I take all of you back on a time machine, to 1987. That was when we had our very first Visit Thailand year. A lot of you weren't born by then, I'm sure, but it was really us opening up to the world. 1987, okay? It was our first big campaign ever, and that year we had 3 million people coming, okay? This year, we are hoping to get above that number, 3 million, okay? So it's more or less, it's kind of like, you know, we go back in time to begin again, and we do things, we find things that make us so attractive to people in the first place, okay? We might have to get back to our basics, you know, we might have to promote the things, the basic qualities that Thailand has to offer, meaning our nature, our culture, our food, our hospitality, and of course, the friendliness of our people. I think we have to get back to those assets, as well as add a few new wrinkles to what we need to do. Of course, the safety measures, the health measures, and also promote new things that we haven't promoted before. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what I'd like to say is it's not the new normal anymore. The new normal doesn't say it will be better. Okay, so what I like to say is welcome to the better normal. Okay, it's new to now to better. We are now in the phase of better normal. Okay, meaning that the things that people know about Thailand, even last year, maybe they're not good enough. We have to be better. Okay, as we move forward, it's not only new, but better. Okay, and I'd like to say that because I look after the Asian markets, the future is still found in Asia. Whether, you know, there are restrictions now, vaccine rollout is slow. There's still a lot of countries still having their own problems with the infections, with the pandemic. But Asia is not going anywhere. Neither is us. We're not going anywhere. We're still here. And Asia, you know, because it's such a huge market, the future is still in Asia. Okay. Of course, Europe and America will have its fair share of people coming. But let's face it, when everything else, everything recovers, the dust has settled, Asians will come here the most. Okay, so it's a huge market size. Okay, and we can't target everyone. We can't get all Asians to come, but at least we can target the millennials in the big countries at first. Okay, or millennials in our target markets. 400 million millennials alone each in China and India. Proximity or closeness. You know, there are countries all around us, and these countries, they love to travel. You know, the citizens of these countries, they want to come to Thailand. They want to go to other countries as well. So we have that going for us. We have the proximity. We are in a very ideal geographical location whereby countries that are around us, the economy is improving. There are people that want to travel, and we are in an area of relatively peace and quiet. Okay, no major wars happening, no major political issues so far. Okay, so proximity is on our side. Similarities and familiarities. Okay, meaning that people in Asia, they, you know, there are lots of cross-culture things. You know, the food is sometimes similar, language is sometimes similar, culture maybe not so different. Okay, whereas if you have to go to a long-haul destination, like say America or Europe or Africa, sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times the culture there is a lot different than what we have here in Thailand, not what we have here in Asia, and it takes time to adjust. So Asia, however, a lot of times, okay, there are differences. Of course, every country is different from one another, but there are also a lot of similarities. So that is also a plus for us. And lastly, respect. As you will notice, Asians respect other people a lot, okay, especially respect the other cultures, respect the elders, respect the differences that each country has, okay? And with respect comes the eagerness to learn about other countries, to learn about how others live, how others eat, how others are happy or sad, okay? Next slide, please. Now let's look at the target segment. We want to go deeper, okay? Like I said, we can't get every Asian, every European to come. So what we'd like to do is identify a segment which is high potential for us in terms of spending, in terms of the positive attitude. So we have identified millennials, meaning people that are basically between the ages of 24 to 39. And these, no matter what sex they are, no matter what occupation they are, you know, these are the millennials will be our target segment. Okay, these will include newlyweds, young families, office workers in every country. Okay, now why millennials? I'll just go through very quickly. We find millennials to be very fast spenders. Okay, maybe they won't buy or they cannot buy luxury items when they travel. They cannot stay in 5-star resorts. They cannot eat at a Michelin star restaurant every single night. But we find that they are quick to spend. Okay, when they see things they like, maybe it's a souvenir shop, maybe it's a cafe, maybe it's something nice clothing, you know, they buy, and they buy very quickly. They buy for themselves, they buy for their friends and families. So that is a good thing to get these people to come to Thailand. Okay, they want new experiences. Okay, these are people that maybe they've been working a bit now. They're eager to see the world. Maybe they're not married. They're still independent. They don't have kids yet, so they are more mobile. They can travel to a lot of places when they are still millennials. Okay, they prefer shorter trips because they have to work or they have still responsibilities. Not like retired people, lots of time on their hands, but millennials usually still working or still studying or something. So they have to take shorter trips. Okay, but shorter trips mean that maybe they can take more frequent trips, okay, throughout the year. Maybe one time they come to Bangkok and then they go back. Another time they come back in because they love Thailand so much. Maybe the next time they come to Phuket. Okay, but it's a shorter trip, maybe usually 3 or 4 days for Asians, a little bit longer for Europeans and Americans. Okay, and you won't find millennials in a big bus of strangers touring this place and that place. You won't find. Millennials tend to be more independent. They do their own research. They want to travel, maybe solo travel, but they also want to hang out with their friends and families, people they know, just to have fun and have a good time. Okay, and also one of the most important things about millennials, they're always sharing. They're always on social media. Okay, so whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, these people, when they travel, they want to share their experiences with the world. Okay, so that is a good thing for us because more people will get to see what they see. Okay, and hopefully that will inspire more people to come to us. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, but in order to get millennials, we must be ready on the supply side, meaning what can we offer to millennials in Thailand? And I always say that millennials, they're active people, okay? They want to have fun. So we have to think that when we offer something to millennials, it will be a fun thing to do for them, okay? You won't find a lot of millennials just lying on the beach all day to get a suntan, okay? You won't find a lot of millennials that want to stay in a hotel and do nothing else, okay? They're more activity-based. They want to do things, they want to see as many things as possible in the time they have at a certain destination. So yeah, it's the great outdoors. It's eating out. It's a lot of shopping. Okay, it's playing sports. They're wanting to de-stress, going to a spa. Okay, a lot of times they want to give something back to the community. They want to have a life-changing experience. Maybe they want to go to a community whereby they can talk to the local people, talk to the villagers. Sometimes they want to engage in community service. Okay, for example, there are a lot of people that want to come to Thailand to stay and tend to elephants, give them a bath and learn about how elephants live in Thailand. Okay, and of course, they want to have fun. At the end of the day, a lot of them want to have a good nightlife. just to listen to live music, enjoy good food, and have fun with friends. Okay, and also there a lot of them will want to take selfies. Of course, I can't think of any millennial who doesn't take selfies. Okay, when they travel, so it's just something that they want to do. So they want to find a good selfie spot, maybe a nice view in the background. And power spots is usually very, very Asian thing. They want to go to a certain shrine or temple to get some blessing, to get that spiritual power in them for a good future, a good work, good marriage, good life, good health, whatever. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is the big plan, So now we know that we want millennials. We know that what we have to offer to them to get millennials to come. So the first stage is, of course, to regain confidence in traveling to Thailand, meaning, yes, it's important that we tell them that all the health measures are important. It is there. They are there for their safety as well as those of the tourists, of the locals, sorry. Okay. And, we have to tell them that when you come to Thailand, you can be confident that you will not get COVID. You will be safe from a lot of things, not only from COVID, but a lot of other dangers and safety concerns in the past, okay? For example, we have to assure them that when you travel from one place to another, you will be safe in terms of road safety, in terms of using public transport, okay? There will be no accidents. There will be all the facilitation needed to make traveling in Thailand a very enjoyable experience. Having said that, in the short term, sometimes just doing your traditional marketing, like TT has done, is not enough. So we may have to use what is called force move stimulus, meaning that we, sometimes we have to extend budget support to our stakeholders, to our partners, to get them to sell more, to promote more, to get people to come, okay? So, using traditional marketing techniques like advertising or fam trips or making appearance at certain trade shows, we still have to do that, but sometimes they're not enough. So we still have to use budget to stimulate certain segments to come to a certain place at a certain time, okay? City marketing, I've already covered. It's a big thing, a major part of our strategy now as we navigate the pandemic situation. We have to put focus on certain destinations in Thailand. A lot of times we may have to even not mention Thailand, but mention or really put the focus on a certain destination like Phuket, like Koh Samui, okay? You'll notice that people now, before they travel, they do a lot of research on the internet. They ask other people about places they've been, okay? So yeah, we have to get a lot of information out there online and offline about these cities, okay? And the bigger, the better. This, I mean that a lot of people, a lot of businesses will need time to recover, okay? It's cruel, but we cannot work with everyone with the limited budget, limited time we have. So if we want people to come back in a hurry, we want numbers, we want people to spend when they're in Thailand, we cannot support everyone at the same time in the short term, okay? So we choose to work with the bigger businesses first, okay? I know this is not what the small businesses want to hear. We're not forgetting them, okay? But we need to fashion our work. We need to divide our time to those businesses that or destinations that have the capacity to bring people to us in volume as well as in spending. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. So with that, again, I need to, I can't talk about Europe and America because I don't look after them. So I'll just focus, as an example, focus your attention to East Asia. And to make it easier, I view promoting East Asia as pop music. Pop music means that it is, Asians, they love something that's really trendy, really in the moment. Okay, so that's why I say it's commercial. It's something that's really relevant at the present day. Okay, Asians need something that is accessible. Pop music is something that everyone can listen to. Okay, whether you're young, you're old, you're in any country, it's something that is more or less universal. So we need Thailand to be really accessible to a lot of people in Asia. Okay, and pop music, usually it's not too long. Okay, it's about maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes tops. Okay, and that's what Asians are doing. They're not traveling too long. Okay, they don't have time to travel a long time. They have businesses to take care of when they go back home. Maybe there are some concerns about travel, so they can't stay too long, basically. Okay, like I said, the length of stay is sometimes 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, not months, not weeks, like the long haul visitors. Okay, so that is what pop music is. It's not too long. Next slide, please. Okay, I won't go into detail, but we have identified each segment, like I said, millennials. And these are our plans, okay, which segment in which country, which millennial segment in which country, and what we are doing, okay? We have outlined the activities that we want to do with millennials. We have identified pain points, okay, so that we know how to fix these pain points. What is the value proposition, okay? Meaning what we want to sell to these millennials, okay? And who we'll work with, the key partners, customer relations, how we keep them coming back, and of course the key products, okay? Food, for example, outdoor activities. Okay, next slide, please. Of course, we need some hooks, like Lisa, if we can get her to promote Thailand. And then there's this cartoon character, animation character in Korea. Next slide, please. Okay, luxury, another segment because they're high spenders. I won't go into detail because I'm really running out of time. Next slide, please. Okay, we targeting people who rent or own private jets. This is one company in China. Next slide, please. Sports, lots of people come here either to play sports or view sports. Okay, so that's an interesting segment, and they spend a lot of money like golfers. Next slide. Also, we have to use certain celebrities, golfers, to be our brand ambassadors. Next slide. Health and wellness, people want to de-stress, people want to relax. The products will be things like spas and certain treatments. Next slide. We participate in wellness expos and events of this nature. Next slide. Romance, people want to get married overseas, go on a honeymoon, have anniversaries. That is a big thing for Asians. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, for ASEAN and South Asia, it's rock and roll, meaning that they know Thailand well, but maybe it's time to rebrand ourselves, get them excited again. Maybe they've been to Thailand many times, but let's rebrand, let's rock and roll them so that they're becoming excited again about coming to Thailand. That means that, next slide, please. We position ourselves as a fun destination. We give them new things to think about, to learn about, to enjoy. Okay, again, still millennials, but reinforce the confidence of the amazing Thailand brand image. Why Thailand is still amazing. Okay, next slide. Yeah, and of course this will change. We have activities throughout the year. We work with our partners like lots of airlines, tour operators, small, big. Of course, the big ones will get us the numbers, but also the small to medium-sized operators will help us to reach certain segments. Okay, next slide. And my final slide. Okay, I'd like to give you this quote from Elon Musk of Tesla. He said, "You want to have a future where you're expecting things to be better, not one where you're expecting things to be worse." Okay, so the future is unclear, but at least what you can do is expect it to be better. Okay, if you think positive, then positive things will happen. Okay, that's my presentation for today. Thank you very much.
So from now we have a Q&A session. So we have collect a question from attendee via Facebook. The question from Mr. Scott Smith. The question is, what can the TAT do to help local minimize the benefits from huge markets like the Chinese market?
John Scott, you're asking, you're basically saying that huge markets, mass tourism is detrimental to the industry. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. So I'm asking us how to maximize the benefits from huge markets.
Okay, maximize the benefits. Okay. Well, in itself, huge markets, they bring a lot of people. Okay, so they create a lot of income, right? I guess what will need to happen is that a lot of times the huge markets, when they come, they don't disperse. Okay, maybe they stick around in a certain area too much. Okay, and then they don't travel around so much. Okay, in itself, that's not the problem of the market. Okay, it's a problem of supply. How we connect one place to another, how we get them to travel within the country, what is the draw to get people to move around the country, okay, or move around a destination. Okay, for example, they might come to Bangkok, but they stay in only one area. But there are other areas of Bangkok that are relatively unknown to tourists. It's up to the locals, the city, and of course to TAT to get people to be interested, and not only interested, not to only get the tourists interested, but also get the communities to be ready to receive tourists. Okay. So I don't think it's the problem of the tourist. Like sometimes when we go to other countries, we don't travel around so much. Then we have to ask ourselves why we don't travel so much. Maybe it's because we don't know about the other places, and also maybe because going to another destination is just too complicated. Okay, so we have to create an ease of travel. John Scott, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Khun Chattan again. Basically, we have more incoming questions, but because of our limited time, so all questions will be rest to you behind the scene. All right. So, to our keynote speakers, thank you very much for today.
Yes, it's been such an honor for us to listen to you all for sharing knowledge and experiences. And for attendees, on behalf of Kasetsart University, Sriracha campus member, I hope you all have a wonderful time today.
All right. So, basically, tourism after COVID-19 may not be the same, but according to the knowledge given by our speakers today, I believe that we are more than ready to cope with tourism changes in a very systematic way for the future sustainable tourism growth.
Yes, and before we finish the conference, we would appreciate if you can do the conference assessment via the QR code. For attendees who want a certificate, certificate will be received after you finish the conference assessment, and we show the QR code now. And thank you very much indeed for today.
All right, and please stay in touch with us by click like, follow, and subscribe our Facebook page of Kasetsart University, Sriracha Campus, and YouTube channel KUSRC. And as informed earlier, the second international conference is coming up soon. All further updates will be made with these channels. And thank you all 500 participants, and I'm sure that you are one to make changes in tourism industry after COVID-19 pandemic.
All right, thank you very much for supporting us. Thank you for Department of Tourism Thailand. Thank you very much for Amazing Thailand and also Minor International.
Thank you to Thai Hotel Associations and Victoria University of Wellington.
And that's it for today. I'm Dr. Pornpom Rungreung.
And my name is Chayapot Lianan.
Hopefully, we can see you soon in the second international conference of Kasetsart University Sriracha campus.
See you very soon. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ